Chapter 2457. After an hour, thanks to Tang Ao's various supreme grade pills and immortal crystals, as well as the jade bone life spirit's nourishment, Sushiro's body had almost recovered. Tang Ao was a man of principle. He would repay kindness and enmity. White Crane Boy had severely injured him and killed Jin Wanchuan. As long as Tang Ao cultivated to the celestial turbid realm, White Crane Boy would die for sure. Sushiro risked her life to save him at the critical moment. It was a great favor. Tang Ao would not let anything happen to her. As a cultivator, kindness and enmity should be clearly distinguished. After recovering, Sushiro left to investigate the surroundings. Under the cover of Tang Ao's fourth-grade immortal formation, this place looked empty from the outside. But from the formation, one could see the outside world. It was different from the immortal ruins, which were lush and green. The south ruins and north ruins could be said to be located in the mountains. Therefore, they were surrounded by towering ancient trees and a vast expanse of green. If not for the special rules set by the Langya realm, the immortal ruins would be a sacred place for cultivation, even if the rules of heaven and earth were not complete. Unfortunately, the Langya realm did not allow so many martial artists from the lower realms to exist. Therefore, they were required to constantly kill and select the best of the best to obtain the qualification to enter the Langya realm. Compared to the immortal ruins, the desolate martial realm was an extreme. As far as the eye could see, there was only a boundless desert all around. In this kind of place, even astral-reaching martial artists could easily lose their way, because no matter which direction one looked, there was only endless yellow sand and pieces of broken walls and dilapidated buildings. Rumor had it that the desolate martial realm was a martial realm that was even more powerful than the current heaven martial realm. The heaven martial realm was the number one martial realm in the true martial realm, but it did not have any divine king experts. But according to the legend, the desolate martial realm once had the famous 10 divine kings. The other realms of martial arts, even the realm of heaven martial arts, which was ranked first at the moment, didn't have any strong divine kings, but the desolate martial arts realm had 10 great divine kings. If the legend was true, then the desolate martial arts realm must have been terrifying at its peak. Unfortunately, no one knew if the legend was true or false. However, the broken walls and ruins on this endless desert told everyone that this place had once given birth to the pinnacle of martial arts civilization. These sandstorms are so dangerous. While Sushiro was looking around, she happened to see a sandstorm shattering a stone pillar several hundred feet tall. It was not a normal stone pillar, but a stone pillar carved out of the Heaven Star stone. This kind of stone pillar, if a normal astral-reaching realm warrior did not have a powerful immortal weapon or a powerful secret art, even if he attacked it for a year, it would not change much. But now, this dilapidated stone pillar that had existed for tens of thousands of years was actually crushed by the sandstorm. Yes, I've been avoiding these sandstorms on the way here. Fortunately, there aren't many storms like this one in this desert. Otherwise, even a chaotic heaven stage powerhouse wouldn't have an easy time. While Tang Ao and Sushiro were talking, Tang Ao sensed that his formation was triggered. Apparently, Shin Yunwei had finished healing. Tang Ao waved his hand, and a formation flag flew back. Then, the formation barrier between Shun Yunwei and Tang Ao disappeared. After seeing Tang Ao's formation technique, Shin Yunwei understood that although Tang Ao's cultivation was not high, Tang Ao's formation attainments were obviously extraordinary. Chapter 2458. Let me introduce myself. My name is Shin Yunwei. I am the branch president of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins in the desolate martial realm. After suppressing the injuries in her body, Shin Yunwei was very grateful to Tang Ao. Seeing Sushiro next to Tang Ao, Shin Yunwei did not ask much. She just smiled and nodded. Senior sister Shun. This is my junior sister Sushiro. She was hit by the White Crane mysterious needle of the White Crane Boy in the immortal ruins. Thank you for your longevity vine, which saved my junior sister. If there's anything senior sister Shun needs me to do, just let me know. Tang Ao was also very grateful to Xin Yunwei. Tang Ao did not know whether Xin Yunwei carried the longevity vine with her all year round, or whether it was specially brought when the Chamber of Immortal Ruins was attacked. But in any case, it was because of Shun Yunwei's longevity vine that Sushiro was saved. The White Crane mysterious needle used by Boy White Crane was a secret technique that contained poison. The White Crane mysterious needle could even penetrate the protective divine light of the heavenly Tao Talisman. From this, it could be seen how powerful the White Crane mysterious needle was. After Tang Ao's analysis, Tang Ao knew that the main poison on the White Crane mysterious needle was a kind of white chalk powder extracted from the gallbladder of a demon beast. In Tang Ao's understanding, the Qingyuan Dan could only barely suppress this poison. If it was not for Shun Yunwei's longevity vine, Sushiro most likely would not have survived. You're right to say it like that, because this piece of longevity vine is indeed my personal property. When I gave you the longevity vine, I also had a condition. I don't know if Elder Lu told you. Tang Ao nodded. Tang Ao knew about this. In the Jade Slip agreement signed with Lu Musheng, this matter was mentioned. However, Tang Ao was determined to save Sushiro, so no matter what condition Xin Yunwei put forward, Tang Ao would agree. Just when Tang Ao thought that Xin Yunwei was going to put forward some excessive conditions, Xin Yunwei said, "Junior brother Tang Ao, can I use that longevity vine to exchange for the essence building pill you gave me? If it's not enough, you can add more conditions." Xin Yunwei did not like to take advantage of others, and she was even more unwilling to accept favors from others. Just a moment ago, when she was in imminent danger, Tang Ao had taken out an essence-building pill to help her suppress her injuries, although Xin Yunwei did not admit it. But Xin Yunwei was still very clear in her heart that she had received a huge grace from Tang Ao. If someone else had said this, Tang Ao would have thought that they were mocking him, because the value of the longevity vine, how could a mere essence-building pill compare to it? No matter how rare the essence-building pill was, it was only a Tier 4 immortal pill. However, the longevity vine was a supreme treasure known to be second only to the God King Tao fruit. It was said that the longevity vine hid a trace of the eternal secret. However, Tang Ao had been focused on saving Sushiro earlier. Naturally, Tang Ao did not want to delve too deeply into this vague legend. Moreover, if there really was an eternal secret within the longevity vine, then Xin Yunwei would have known about it a long time ago, since it had been with her for thousands of years. "Senior Sister Sue, my essence-building pill helped you stabilize your injuries, but your longevity vine also saved my junior sister's life. In this way, we are even. If Senior Sister Shun doesn't mind, we can become friends." Feeling Shun Yunwei's sincerity, Tang Ao also spoke with sincerity. Xin Yunwei would never easily accept favors from others. Even if she did accept favors from others, she would immediately repay them. In a sense, Shun Yunwei and Tang Ao were the same kind of people. Chapter 2459. Xin Yunwei, who was standing in front of Tang Ao, was also a femme fatale. Her exquisite face was a bit pale, but her skin was still supple. Her almond-shaped eyes seemed to be flowing with autumn water, and her breath smelled like orchids when she opened her mouth. It made people want to get close to her, but they also gradually felt inferior. Not long ago, Tang Ao had seen the Divine Race Princess on the Void battleship. She exuded a natural, noble aura. Xin Yunwei, on the other hand, had a pure and holy aura, like the clouds in the sky or the morning mist in the mountains, ethereal and tranquil. Tang Ao hadn't felt this much pressure even when facing the White Crane child at the 4th level of the Turbid Sky stage. Being stared at by Shun Yunwei, Tang Ao felt like he had returned to the time when he had received Emperor Hades' inheritance. Emperor Hades' shocking aura was even stronger. Just as Tang Ao felt like he couldn't hold on any longer, Xin Yunwei finally looked away. She nodded and said, "All right, I'll call you Junior Brother Tang Ao from now on." She took off a silver bracelet from her wrist and handed it to Tang Ao. "This is the Heaven Fate bracelet. After activating it, It can block an attack from a turbid sky stage powerhouse. Because I had the Heaven Fate bracelet to protect me, I was caught off guard and was ambushed by Tian Yogwang. I'll give it to you now. Don't make the same mistake in the future. Tang Ao's heart trembled. Tang Ao had made many friends since he started cultivating. But Shun Yunwei was the first person to give such a treasure to Tang Ao as soon as they met. From Shun Yunwei's clear eyes, Tang Ao could see her sincerity. Tang Ao understood. Although Shun Yunwei didn't show it, she clearly thought of him as a little brother. Thinking of this, Tang Ao took out the scarlet gold sword that had been tempered 6 times and reached the peak of the 5th grade immortal artifact. Different from ordinary scarlet gold swords, this one was completely transparent like an ice sword. However, on both sides of the blade, there were 2 vertical stripes, red and blue. The red vertical lines were caused by the constant devouring of fire essence, while the blue vertical lines were caused by the use of the ice purification method. When Tang Ao sensed the faint fluctuation of sword chi from Shun Yunwei's body, Tang Ao knew that his sister also used a sword. Tang Ao had many treasures on him, but the one that suited Shun Yunwei the most was this scarlet gold sword. Sister, I forged this crimson gold sword myself. Although the scarlet gold sword is only a peak grade 5 immortal artifact, this immortal artifact is somewhat different. As long as it keeps devouring fire essence, it will be able to level up. Sister, Shun Yunwei was stunned when she heard the title. She didn't pay attention to what Tang Ao said after that. Shun Yunwei was an orphan. The father of Shun Yunqing, the current president of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins, was Shun Yunwei's adoptive father. After Shun Yunqing's father died, Shun Yunwei had no one close to her other than Shun Yunqing. However, because Shun Yunwei's appearance was similar to Shun Yunqing's, anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Shun Yunwei was not as simple as the old president's adopted daughter. In order to avoid arousing suspicion, Shun Yunwei left Langya World and came to the desolate martial world's ruins of Immortal Ruins. After a slight pause, Shun Yunwei kept the scarlet gold sword that Tang Ao handed over. Chapter 2460. This is not the place to talk. This defense formation can block ordinary blood kindred, but it can't hide from the elders of the blood kindred. Shun Yunwei took out a jade pendant from her storage ring after she finished speaking. Then, Shun Yunwei drew a line in the void, and a teleportation formation appeared in front of the 3 of them. Then, Shun Yunwei wrapped Tang Ao and Su Shiro with her spiritual power. As the teleportation formation flashed, Tang Ao put away the formation flags around him, and the 3 of them disappeared into the vast desert. When they reappeared, the 3 of them were in a valley. At this moment, there were many warriors in the valley. Although this ravine was also located in a certain part of the desert, it was clearly protected by a spirit formation. Thus, the ravine was also lush and verdant. In the center of the ravine was a spring that was gurgling out. Tang Ao was able to sense an astonishing amount of immortal spiritual energy ripple from the spring. Tang Ao had medium-grade celestial crystals, but the fluctuation of celestial spiritual power in the spring was even purer than that of medium-grade celestial crystals. When the anxious cultivators in the valley saw Shun Yunwei, they immediately rejoiced. President, you're finally back? A warrior with a long spear on his back breathed a sigh of relief. Sister Shun, you scare me to death. They said you weren't coming back. The one who spoke was a little girl with a tender voice. The little girl was only 7 or 8 years old and looked very cute. Shun Yunwei touched the little girl's head, then said to the warrior who asked the question first, Yang Zhan, go and gather everyone here. I have something to say. The warrior called Yang Zhan looked at Tang Ao and Su Shiro, but he still obeyed Shun Yunwei's order to gather the remaining warriors of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins. This valley was one of the secret camps of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins in the desolate martial realm. Every member of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had a teleportation token. In times of life and death, as long as they were within the range of the formation, they could immediately be teleported to this place. Of course, teleporting here was not a problem, but if they wanted to leave, they had to use the teleportation token in Shun Yunwei's hand. Because everyone had come to this valley and left using the teleportation array, no one knew where this valley was except for Shen Yunwei. Yang Zhan was Shen Yunwei's right-hand man. Originally, Yang Zhan was not a warrior of the Chamber of Commerce of the Immortal Ruins. However, because Yang Zhan had offended the Realm Lord of the North Sea Realm and the North Sea Realm, Yang Zhan had no choice but to escape to the desolate Martial Realm. After arriving at the desolate Martial Realm, Shen Yunwei took in Yang Zhan, who was seriously injured and on the verge of death. Because of Shen Yunwei's life-saving grace, Yang Zhan worked conscientiously under Shen Yunwei. Yang Zhan's work efficiency was very high. In less than a dozen breaths of time, the originally empty square was immediately filled with hundreds of martial artists. From the hundreds of martial artists here, it could be determined that because of Tian Youguang's betrayal of the Chamber of Commerce in the ruins of immortality, one elder of the Chamber of Commerce in the desolate martial realm had died in this battle, and 90% of the rest of the members had died. Those who followed Tian Youguang to kill our fellow cultivators in the Chamber of Commerce in the immortal ruins, for whatever reason, kill yourselves. I'll allow you to be reincarnated, Shen Yunwei said indifferently as she swept her cold gaze across the crowd. Chapter 2461. Hearing Shen Yunwei's words, many people bitterly smiled. Winner takes all. They had chosen the wrong path back then, so it was reasonable for them to pay the price now. It was just that the price was a bit too heavy. President Shen, Old Liu was confused and followed that bastard Tian Youguang. I'm sorry about this. Senior brothers and junior brothers, I'll be leaving first. A one-eyed martial artist with several scars on his face walked out. After cupping his fists at Shen Yunwei, he raised his hand and smashed his own head. This martial artist had followed Tian Youguang and killed many Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce martial artists. Although he had contributed a lot to the Chamber of Commerce, his mistake this time was unforgivable. Ha ha, winner takes all. Since I've lost, I'll take my life. At this moment, a middle-aged man in white robes laughed. He waved the folding fan in his hand and slashed towards his own neck. However, just as his folding fan was about to cut his own neck, the white-robed scholar's figure suddenly flickered and charged towards Tang Ao. In Zhao Wenshan's opinion, since Tang Ao could come with Shen Yunwei to this enchantment camp, the relationship between Tang Ao and Shen Yunwei was naturally not ordinary. Zhao Wenshan was not Shen Yunwei's opponent, but Tang Ao was a mere astral-reaching martial artist. Zhao Wenshan did not put him in his eyes at all. However, before Zhao Wenshan's hand could grab Tang Ao, a dark purple flame curtain suddenly appeared in front of Tang Ao. The moment Zhao Wenshan saw the flame curtain, he realized that it was not good. However, it was clearly too late for him to stop. The moment his hand touched the netherworld flame, its frighteningly high temperature instantly incinerated his hand into nothingness. Moreover, the flame instantly spread along his arm, as if it wanted to burn Zhao Wenshan into ashes. At this moment, Zhao Wenshan was also ruthless. He directly raised his left hand and slashed at his right shoulder, immediately causing his entire right arm to fall off. However, before Zhao Wenshan could do anything else, the pitch-black spear behind him had already pierced through his heart. Zhao Wenshan laughed bitterly, then turned to look at Yang Zhan and said, "I forgot about you." After saying that, Zhao Wenshan's body transformed again. Then, his body exploded in front of everyone's eyes, turning into strands of black qi that burrowed into the ground in all directions. Each wisp of aura contained a trace of soul origin. Many of the black auras even burrowed into the foreheads of many martial artists. Seeing this, Shen Yunwei's expression changed drastically. Zhao Wenshan was Tian Youguang's trusted aide. The reason why Zhao Wenshan came to this secret realm this time was to find out where the secret manual was in the desolate martial realm. Originally, Zhao Wenshan had some clues, but he didn't expect that Shen Yunwei would come back at this time. Compared to the incomparably terrified cultivators, Tang Ao quickly formed 9 seals with his hands and threw out 9 formation flags. The moment the formation flags landed on the ground, a formless wave spread out. At this moment, Zhao Wenshan's escaping soul fragments were all sucked back by the formation. At this moment, Zhao Wenshan was finally afraid. Originally, after using this secret technique, Zhao Wenshan was sure that Shun Yunwei wouldn't be able to stop him. However, he never expected that the young man who came back with Shun Yunwei was actually a fourth-grade immortal array master. Chapter 2462. However, his soul had been locked by Tang Ao's soul-locking array. If Shun Yunwei wanted to kill him, he would not be able to escape no matter how capable he was. Zhao Wenshan was definitely a martial artist who was good at scheming. Even if Shun Yunwei wanted to settle the accounts, Zhao Wenshan had already considered it. However, Zhao Wenshan didn't think that even if Shun Yunwei didn't die, she would actually come back with an array Dao powerhouse like Tang Ao. There's no need. Search his soul. Without waiting for Shun Yunwei to speak, Tang Ao took a step forward and placed his palm on Zhao Wenshan's soul. A shivering scream was heard as Zhao Wenshan's soul was split into 10,000 pieces. At this moment, the pain Zhao Wenshan suffered when Tang Ao searched his soul was also 10,000 times worse. However, no one sympathized with Zhao Wenshan. If Tang Ao had not been here today, many people would have died because of Zhao Wenshan. During the previous rebellion, many martial artists in the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had their souls devoured by Zhao Wenshan. Zhao Wenshan's fate could be described as heaven's retribution. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Tang Ao removed his hand from Zhao Wenshan's soul. At this moment, Zhao Wenshan's soul was full of cracks. Even so, Zhao Wenshan had not died. Apart from himself, this was the first time Tang Ao had seen a martial artist with such a strong soul. However, Zhao Wenshan's memory had already disappeared. Tang Ao had originally used the soul-searching secret technique to erase Zhao Wenshan's soul. However, Tang Ao had not expected that Zhao Wenshan's soul would not completely collapse under his soul-searching secret technique. After Tang Ao removed the soul-searching palm print, Zhao Wenshan's soul actually began to absorb the surrounding dissipating soul sources and slowly recovered. However, because the consciousness of this soul had been completely erased by Tang Ao, even if this soul recovered, it would be an ownerless soul. Such a powerful ownerless soul was the most suitable to be used as an artifact spirit. However, Zhao Wenshan had done many evil things. Now that Tang Ao had kept Zhao Wenshan's soul, the people in the Chamber of Immortal Ruins would definitely not agree. Since that's the case, I'll tell your fortune as well. Junior brother Tang Ao, you're an expert in artifact forging, so why don't you keep this ownerless soul? After Shun Yunwei spoke, even though everyone was unhappy, they didn't say anything. Moreover, Shun Yunwei was right. Zhao Wenshan's consciousness had been completely erased by Tang Ao. Although this soul belonged to Zhao Wenshan, there was no trace of him left. After Shun Yunwei spoke, Tang Ao naturally didn't say anything else. With a thought, he planted a psyche mark on Zhao Wenshan's soul. Zhao Wenshan's soul was directly sucked into the underworld life soul by Tang Ao. Such a soul could only grow stronger in the netherworld. Moreover, just in case, Tang Ao had branded his soul remembrance imprint. With a thought from Tang Ao, this soul could collapse again. After learning from the mistakes of attendant Liu and Zhao Wenshan, the remaining martial artists who had participated in the rebellion became much more straightforward and killed themselves. This scene seemed heartless, but this was the best way to explain to the people of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins who had died and the surviving martial artists. Chapter 2463. After all the warriors who had participated in the judgment had committed suicide, Shun Yunwei told everyone in detail about the discovery of the ruins and Tian Youguang's sneak attack. Just as Shun Yunwei was about to ask everyone to compile a list of the warriors who had participated in the rebellion, Shun Yunwei's identity token suddenly vibrated. At the same time, Tang Ao's identity token vibrated as well. On a floating boulder outside the desolate martial realm, a roar resounded through the sky. It was a giant tiger that was tens of thousands of feet tall, formed by countless thunderbolts. As the tiger slammed its claws down, a giant teleportation portal that was tens of thousands of feet wide suddenly appeared below it. The teleportation portal's formation pattern also changed with countless thunderbolts. On the teleportation portal, illusory figures gradually solidified. The overall cultivation of these figures was not very high. The strongest one was only at the third stage of the yin-yang realm. The third stage of the yin-yang realm was the entry limit to the Heaven Path secret realm. Those who surpassed the third stage of the yin-yang realm would not be able to enter the Heaven Path secret realm. Although their cultivation was not high, the aura of each of these people was extremely domineering. Many of them even had a strong blood aura. It was obvious that they had been killing for years. This boulder was not far from the desolate martial realm. Coupled with the giant thunder tiger, it was impossible not to attract the attention of the warriors in the desolate martial realm. At that moment, countless warriors in the desolate martial realm saw this scene. After seeing the densely packed figures on the teleportation portal, the warriors of the desolate martial realm sucked in a breath of cold air. Those wearing the Black Frost armor are the experts of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins Heroes list. It is said that savage Killer Shao, who made a name for himself in the desolate martial realm 100 years ago, barely made it into the Chamber of Immortal Ruins Heroes list. Those wearing the black gold armor are the experts of the Hidden Dragon list. It is said that the experts of the Hidden Dragon list are far stronger than the experts of the Heroes list. Looking at this number, the warriors of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins Hidden Dragon list and the Heroes list should all be here. Those warriors in the Shura blood-patterned robes, could they be? The Blood Clan is finished. They actually sent 10 Shura elders. Ever since the Chamber of Commerce of the Ruins of Immortality was established, there have been instances of branches being destroyed. However, the matter was resolved with the dispatch of 1 or 2 Azura elders. I didn't expect the Chamber of Commerce of the Ruins of Immortality to send 10 Azura elders this time. Although the Blood Clan has been developing in the dark all these years, they still offended someone they shouldn't have. In the barrier camp of the desolate martial realm's Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce, Tang Ao and Shun Yunwei received different news. When Tang Ao received the news, all the martial artists on the Hidden Dragon list had to go to the desolate martial realm within 100 days to kill the Blood Clan. Killing different cultivations and numbers of Blood Clan members would give them corresponding points. The 100 people with the highest points would officially represent the Chamber of Commerce in the Ruins of Immortality to participate in the Heavenly Tao Trial in 1,000 years. After that, there was a detailed introduction about the Way of Heaven trial. For the warriors of the Black-Yellow Continent, a Divine King expert was just a legendary existence. However, for the warriors of the True Force realm, a Divine King expert was a goal that they could pursue. This was because in the Heavenly Law Trial's Heavenly Law Secret Realm, there was a godly monarch Tao fruit. As long as he obtained the Divine King Tao fruit, he would have the possibility of becoming a Divine King in the future. At this moment, Tang Ao was overwhelmed with emotions. A Divine King expert was an existence that stood at the top of the world. Although Tang Ao had a lot of tricks up his sleeve, Tang Ao didn't think that he would be able to enter the top 100 this time. This was because Tang Ao's competitors were also the best of the best from different planes and martial worlds. On Tang Ao's identity token, there was the simple information of the other 249 people, as well as Tang Ao's own information. The first thing Tang Ao saw was his own information. Tang Ao, lower plane martial artist, third level astral reaching realm, found in the northern ruins of immortality of Langya realm. Grade 3 King Grade Immortal Alchemist, Grade 3 King Grade Artificer. Survived 10 breaths of White Crane Boy's attack. Battle rating, high mystic rank. The other information was clear at a glance, but this battle rating made Tang Ao a bit confused. Because right now, even Tang Ao didn't know what the limit of his battle power was. Previously, when facing White Crane Boy, because of the huge difference in strength, it was like an ant facing an elephant. No matter how many tricks Tang Ao had, he couldn't shake White Crane Boy. But if they were both ants fighting, it would be hard to say who was stronger and who was weaker. After reading his information, Tang Ao's eyes flickered as he saw a name: Mad Killer Shao, Blood Battle Realm Martial Artist. Because he accidentally killed a Blood Battle Realm emissary, he was tied up in the soul pool and refined his soul for 1,000 years. Later, he escaped from the Blood Battle Realm, created a huge disaster in the desolate Martial Realm, and then joined the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce. 5th level Astral Reaching Realm, Battle Rating, Low, Earth Rank. After reading this martial artist's information, Tang Ao couldn't help but sigh inwardly. These martial artists who could be recruited by the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce were indeed not simple. For a normal astral reaching realm martial artist, not to mention refining his soul for 1,000 years, even refining his soul for a year would cause his soul to dissipate. However, this Mad Killer Shao had refined his soul for 1,000 years in the soul pool and was still fine. Chapter 2464. Tang Ao looked at the information of the martial artist who was also at the 3rd level of astral reaching realm like him. Huang Qir, a genius disciple of Wundao College, expert in controlling demonic beasts. Among her natal demonic beasts, one has reached the peak of 9th level of astral reaching realm. Once fought a yin-yang realm expert to a draw. Battle power rating, low heaven realm. Seeing this information, Tang Ao's expression remained the same. However, when he saw that Huang Qir's image was that of an 11 or 12-year-old girl, Tang Ao felt that something was wrong with this world. These geniuses were truly monstrous beyond Tang Ao's imagination. Tang Ao really wanted to see what kind of fierce person was rated as a high heaven realm battle power. However, at this moment, Tang Ao's identity token transmitted a teleportation fluctuation. Tang Ao understood that it was urging him to gather. Smiling helplessly, Tang Ao handed a storage ring to Sushiro. Junior sister Su, I have to leave for a while. You can cultivate here during this time. Be careful. Sushiro nodded quietly. Although Sushiro wanted to go with Tang Ao, she knew that even with the Heavenly Tao Talisman, she would only be dragging Tang Ao down. If she wanted to help Tang Ao, she would have to refine the first 3 layers of the talisman. However, up until now, Sushiro had only refined the first layer. Clearly, there was still a long time before she could refine the 3rd layer. Sister Shiro, don't worry. Junior brother Tang Ao's attainments and arrays are not bad. Moreover, there are 10 Azura elders overseeing this operation. You'll be fine. Shen Yunwei patted Sushiro's shoulder and said softly. Her expression was like an elder sister talking to her younger sister-in-law, which made Sushiro's expression a bit strange. As the teleportation array flickered, Tang Ao appeared on the void boulder outside the desolate martial realm. As soon as Tang Ao appeared, he saw the majestic, 10,000-meter-tall Thunder Tiger. Following the path of the Thunder Tiger, Tang Ao saw the gigantic teleportation formation on the ground. The grade of the array was shockingly high. It was a peak grade 8 immortal array. Ever since Tang Ao started cultivating, this was the first time he had seen such a high-level formation. Only this kind of high-level formation could realize teleportation between the martial world. However, activating such a formation once would consume a terrifying amount of energy. Conservatively speaking, the cost of activating the formation this time was far more than 1,000 times that of the void battleship traveling between the Langya realm and the desolate martial realm. There were actually quite a few forces that possessed such a formation. However, there were only a few forces that could utilize it at any time. This time, the Blood Clan had touched the reverse scale of the Chamber of Commerce in the ruins of immortality, the dragon's reverse scale. Anyone who touched it would die. When Tang Ao appeared on the array formation, a set of black gold armor slowly appeared and quickly armed Tang Ao. Looking at his outfit, Tang Ao was very satisfied. This black gold battle armor was a grade 5 immortal artifact that had been forged thrice. The fact that the Chamber of Commerce in the ruins of immortality could produce 50 sets of such battle armor showed how terrifying the chamber's foundation was. Just as Tang Ao was lamenting, a thunderous voice exploded above everyone's heads. "I am Wu Yin, and I will be in charge of judging the results of your trial this time. President Shun Yinxing requests that when you leave the desolate martial realm, each of you must have at least 100 points on your token. However, what I want to say is that when you leave the desolate martial realm, if you don't have 1,000 points on your token, you'll have to stay in the desolate martial realm and train. Without further ado, you may leave now. The trial begins." Chapter 2465. As for the fact that Tang Ao had arrived earlier, he had a certain advantage. However, Tang Ao's advantage was not worth mentioning at all, because among the 250 warriors, about 20 of them were from the desolate martial realm. Compared to Tang Ao, these warriors were the ones who were really familiar with the place. As soon as Wu Yin's voice landed, a horrifying aura exploded from the Yin-Yang realm warriors, and they flew directly into the depths of the desolate martial realm. Their target was not the small fries of the blood race, but the Yin-Yang realm warriors of the blood race. The desolate martial realm was the base camp of the blood race. Although many forces knew that the blood race had taken root in the desolate martial realm, none of them stood out to attack the blood race. If it were not for the fact that the blood race had taken the initiative to attack the immortal ruined Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce would not have taken such a drastic measure. Although the aura of the warriors at the top of the Hidden Dragon rank was shocking, compared to the middle-aged warrior wearing a blood-patterned Azura robe, their aura was nothing. This time, 10 Azura elders had been sent out for only one purpose, which was to uproot the blood race that had existed for 10,000 years. Some of the warriors on the Hidden Dragon rank and the Hero rank were independent, while others were in groups of 3 to 5. After all, most of the blood race warriors here were at the late astral reaching realm or the late Yin-Yang realm. They did not have to worry about the Yin-Yang realm warriors, but when facing the late astral reaching realm warriors of the blood race, if they were not particularly good at fighting, it would be very dangerous. This trial did not stipulate that warriors could not form teams. After all, the purpose of the trial was not only to pick out 100 warriors from the 250 geniuses, but also had another very important purpose, which was to train these warriors together. After all, everyone would be participating in the Heavenly Tao trials together in the future. Before the Heavenly Tao trials, it would only be good for them to train together. "Brother Tang Ao, can I team up with you?" Just as Tang Ao was considering whether or not to chase after that arrogant purple bone wolf, a soft and sweet voice was suddenly heard from behind Tang Ao. Tang Ao turned around and saw Huang Qir in a golden princess dress. Tang Ao remembered that Huang Qir was able to control a horrifying beast that was as powerful as a peak level 9 astral reaching realm warrior. Her battling power was also at the low rank of Heaven Realm. Therefore, Huang Qir taking the initiative to ask Tang Ao to join her team was something that Tang Ao did not expect. However, Tang Ao still nodded. Although Tang Ao wasn't afraid of Tang Ao going through the trial alone, the effect of this trial wouldn't be as good as 2 people. Because the desolate martial realm was too big, no one knew where the Blood Clan would appear. Tang Ao found out the location of 3 Blood Clan's encampments through soul searching. However, those 3 encampments were guarded by experts at the peak of Yin-Yang Realm Level 9. If Tang Ao wasn't tired of living, he wouldn't go there. 250 people was not a small number, but once they were scattered in the desolate martial realm, it would become a drop in the ocean. Huang Qir summoned a fire sky horse, which was proficient in the wind and fire element immortal spirit power. As it ran in the air, a gust of wind and fire danced, looking extremely dazzling. Seeing that Huang Qir had such a cool pet, Tang Ao immediately thought of Xiao Yin and Schwerer in his storage ring. Chapter 2466. After flying for some distance, Huang Qir suddenly descended from the sky and came to Tang Ao's side. Then, Huang Qir tiptoed and whispered into Tang Ao's ear, "Senior brother Tang Ao, Little Turtle said that we are surrounded by the Blood Clan. When Huang Qir said this, Tang Ao could feel that Huang Qir was a little excited and a little nervous. Although her martial Dao talent was not bad, Huang Qir had not experienced many real battles like this. Tang Ao also looked at the little turtle in Huang Qir's mouth. This little turtle was indeed small, only the size of half of Tang Ao's palm. However, the little turtle's head was a dragon's head. This was a dragon turtle with a dragon's head and a turtle's body. It was rumored that dragon turtles had a lifespan of millions of years. This dragon turtle was really a little turtle. Moreover, this dragon turtle's remembrance was even stronger than Tang Ao's. This was because Tang Ao only discovered that he and Huang Qir were being treasured by the Blood Clan martial artists. This dragon turtle had already discovered it a few dozen breaths ago. From this, it could be seen that this dragon turtle's remembrance was 10 times stronger than Tang Ao's. Tang Ao's remembrance was already strong to an unimaginable level, but this dragon turtle's remembrance was 10 times stronger than Tang Ao's. Tang Ao did not doubt that if this dragon turtle grew to its peak, its remembrance could cover all 36 realms of the true martial domain. Icebird, come out quickly. At this moment, Tang Ao saw Huang Qir's hands forming a complicated seal and then clapped them in front of her. After the light of the array flashed, Tang Ao immediately shivered. The temperature of the surrounding space also dropped to the freezing point in an instant. Tang Ao also clearly saw what the icebird in Huang Qir's mouth was. Ice Crystal Phoenix. Tang Ao was somewhat speechless. Huang Qir's mouth, the flaming Pegasus, was an ancient remnant, and the dragon turtle she used to scout for information was a legendary mythological beast. Although the ice phoenix she had summoned was a cub, it was also a mythological beast. According to Huang Qir's information, she could also summon a powerful beast that was as powerful as a peak-level astral-reaching realm warrior. Right now, Tang Ao was really curious about what this powerful beast was. Everyone attack. This young lady is Dao seeking Academy's Huang Qir. The clan head has ordered us to capture her alive. As for this brat, just kill him. After Huang Qir summoned the ice phoenix, the surrounding vampires immediately turned into clouds of blood mist and whizzed toward Tang Ao and Huang Qir. Tang Ao sneered in his heart. The green lotus sword soul suddenly bloomed behind him, and he was about to attack. However, before Tang Ao could appear, a golden thunder hound covered in golden lightning suddenly appeared. After the golden thunder hound roared, a golden thunder enchantment suddenly appeared. After these vampires crashed into the thunder shield, they immediately let out blood-curdling screeches. Without waiting for them to continue, the ice phoenix let out a light cry, and its 2 wings suddenly shook. Under the shake of the ice phoenix's wings, an ice storm immediately appeared in the space. All the vampires below the 4th level of astral reaching realm were all frozen into ice sculptures. There were also a lot of vampires who were frozen into a cloud of blood mist. As the ice phoenix let out another light cry, the ice immediately shattered. At this moment, a third of the vampires who were frozen were instantly killed. Chapter 2467. Pooh! Pooh! Right at that moment, the gold thunder hound suddenly shot out a golden thunderball from its mouth. The 3 4th level astral reaching realm warriors in front of the thunderball were all pierced through. However, as the blood mist moved, the pierced parts slowly recovered. Blood race warriors below astral reaching realm level 3 were the lowest rank of the blood race. Most of them were mixed bloods, which resulted in an impure bloodline. Therefore, many of the secret arts of the blood race could not be performed. However, the astral reaching realm level 4 to level 6 blood race warriors were much more powerful. A lot of these blood race warriors had been frozen by the ice phoenix, but after the ice had been shattered, the blood mist that they had turned into had merged together again. As Tang Ao was waiting for Huang Qir to summon a few more powerful beasts to deal with the current situation, Tang Ao suddenly realized that Huang Qir was looking at him with her big watery eyes. Brother Tang Ao, it's your turn." "My turn?" Tang Ao pointed at his own nose and asked. It was not because Tang Ao was afraid of these blood race warriors, but because Tang Ao had not recovered from the powerful beast that Huang Qir had summoned. "All right, then." Tang Ao did not hesitate either. His body shone with a golden light, and one after another, golden symbols jumped out. It was indeed Tang Ao's battle, Saint Bone's spirit. However, this time, Tang Ao did not let the battle Saint Bone's spirit attach to his body. Instead, he let the golden symbols continuously merge with his body. After a while, the golden symbols completely merged with Tang Ao's body. Right then, Tang Ao's body shone with a golden light, looking like the incarnation of King Kong. This was a secret art of the battle Saint Bone's spirit. After Tang Ao had trained his body to Yuan body, Tang Ao had finally discovered it after constant practice. However, this was the first time Tang Ao had performed the King Kong body spirit. After performing the King Kong body spirit, Tang Ao did not even summon his green lotus sword spirit. Instead, he directly charged into the blood race warriors. Although Tang Ao looked a little strange at the moment, a cruel smile still flashed in the eyes of the Blood Clan warrior. As the blood surged, a blood spear instantly flew out. Without any delay, the blood spear blasted towards Tang Ao's heart with a violent force. When he saw this blood spear, Tang Ao wanted to smash it with a punch. However, Tang Ao realized that he couldn't sense any danger from the blood spear. Under the horrified gazes of the blood tribe members, the blood spear collided with Tang Ao's body. However, the scene they had imagined did not appear. Instead, the blood spear shattered upon colliding with Tang Ao's body. As for Tang Ao's body, there was only a faint flicker of light where the blood spear struck him. He took the blood spear head-on and was completely unharmed. This made the eyes of the surrounding Blood Clan members turn serious. A Blood Clan warrior said with uncertainty, "Is this guy an ancient dragon summoned by Huang Qir? Is that why he looks like this?" "That's right. Look at the golden light on his body. Maybe he is an ancient dragon from the Golden Dragon clan." Yes. Only the ancient dragon's tyrannical physique can take the blood spear of our Blood Clan head-on. All of you get lost. I will deal with him. At this time, a voice that Tang Ao was somewhat familiar with was heard. The Blood Clan warrior who had rushed over was the Purple Bone Wolf. Chapter 2468. Die! The purple-boned wolf suddenly clawed out, and a purple-black bone blade extended from its palm. Clang! The sound of metal clashing resounded. The purple-boned wolf's bone blade clashed with Tang Ao's primordial sacred heavenly bow, but did not suffer any damage. While Tang Ao was secretly surprised, the purple-boned wolf's heart was in a perilous state. One must know that the purple-black bone did not belong to the purple-boned wolf, but the blood demon's bone that resided in its body. The longbow in Tang Ao's hand was unknown, but was unexpectedly unharmed after clashing with the blood demon's bone. The reason why the purple-boned wolf used the blood demon's bone was to deal with Tang Ao's King Kong incarnation. However, Tang Ao did not dare to be careless in the face of the blood demon's bone. Therefore, for a while, the two of them were actually entangled in a fight. If it was just a one-on-one fight between Tang Ao and the purple-boned wolf, Tang Ao naturally would not be afraid of the purple-boned wolf. However, it was obviously not the time for Tang Ao and the purple-boned wolf to fight one-on-one. This was because the remaining blood kinder martial artists were currently staring at Huang Qir. Although there were martial artists from the Hidden Dragon list and the Hero list passing by from time to time, everyone pretended not to see them. This was because among the 250 people, only the top 100 would advance. If one martial artist died, their chances of advancing would increase by a lot. Therefore, these martial artists were very happy to see such a scene. Bone Domain Enchantment. Seeing that its own people were suppressing Huang Qir and were about to take her down, the purple-boned wolf was overjoyed. With a loud roar, the purple-boned wolf's rib suddenly flew out. This rib was also the blood demon's bone that resided in the purple-boned wolf's body. After the blood demon's bone appeared, it immediately turned into a prison and trapped Tang Ao. Bone Cone. Seeing that the Bone Domain enchantment had trapped Tang Ao, the purple-boned wolf was overjoyed. Immediately, the purple-boned wolf roared, and immediately, a row of sharp bone spikes shot out from its back. These bone spikes were like spears that wanted to nail Tang Ao to death on the spot. However, at this moment, a silver halo suddenly erupted from Tang Ao's body. This halo had countless mysterious runes circulating around it. After the purple bone wolf's bone alls bombarded the light barrier emitted by the Heaven's Fate halo, these bone alls were all bounced off by the Heaven's Fate halo. At that moment, Tang Ao's hands formed a series of complicated hand seals. At the same time, Tang Ao's body exuded a powerful aura. Around Tang Ao, a series of handprints that were meant to nourish his body appeared. In the blink of an eye, there were hundreds of them, and when he looked again, there were thousands of them. If it was only one hand seal, the purple bone wolf would not be afraid at all. However, after dozens of hand seals, it attracted the purple bone wolf's attention. After hundreds of hand seals, even the purple bone wolf had to be cautious. Now that the hand seals appeared in front of it, the purple bone wolf did not dare to be careless. With a thought, the blood demon's bone that was trapping Tang Ao flew back into its body. Immediately, a crack appeared between the purple bone wolf's eyebrows, and a purplish-black bloody hand seal flew out. At this moment, Tang Ao's body instantly surged with celestial spiritual energy. The thousands of hand seals immediately exploded with bright white light. Thousand Hand Seal, Blood Demon's Hand. Chapter 2469. Boom! A dazzling white palm print clashed with a huge blood hand. At the moment of impact, a terrifying spiritual power exploded. A blood-kindred martial artist who did not retreat in time was turned into a blood mist. However, this time, it was not a blood mist technique. It was the destruction of one's soul. Even though Tang Ao's Yuan body was comparable to an yin-yang realm expert, and after merging with the Jade Bone Life Soul, his body's strength had soared once again. However, at this moment, Tang Ao could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Tang Ao used his soul psyche to scan his body and found streams of purplish-black blood flowing around in his body. In the battle just now, Tang Ao was not at a disadvantage in a head-on confrontation. The reason why he was injured was because he did not know how strange the blood demon's hand was. Seeing Tang Ao spit out a mouthful of blood, the purple bone wolf smiled proudly. The blood demon's hand's attack was not very strong, but it was very strange. It could follow the flow of a martial artist's spiritual power, flow back into the martial artist's body, and corrode the martial artist's organs. After being corroded by the blood demon's blood, unless one was from the blood kindred or a martial artist who cultivated a blood-type cultivation technique, one would basically be a dead person. Feeling the raging blood demon's blood in his body, Tang Ao was about to control the netherworld fire to burn the blood demon's blood into nothingness when Tang Ao's 9 dragons Emperor Jade body suddenly let out a thunderous roar. This roar could not be heard by ordinary people, but Tang Ao was shaken by it. However, Tang Ao was pleasantly surprised to see that the raging blood demon's blood in his body had actually transformed into a blood demon shadow. Above the blood demon's shadow was a ball of light with 9 dragons revolving around it. At this moment, a bolt of lightning struck down. The blood demon's blood immediately let out a mournful cry before disappearing into thin air. The purple bone wolf looked at Tang Ao mockingly. After being corroded by the blood demon's blood, Tang Ao would not need to do anything. Very soon, his body would explode, and he would die because he could not withstand the berserk blood of the blood demon. However, what the purple bone wolf found strange was that a handprint had appeared around Tang Ao. But this time, the purple bone wolf did not care at all. Tang Ao was not a blood kindred, so he could not suppress the blood of the blood devil. In the blink of an eye, there were hundreds of handprints around Tang Ao. That's not right. How can he endure the corrosion of the blood demon's blood for so long? Could he really be from the primordial dragon clan? But the ancient dragon clan doesn't even exist in the true dragon world anymore. How could they appear here? While the purple bone wolf was deep in thought, thousands of thousand hand imprints had already appeared around Tang Ao. But this time, it was not the end. The bolts of lightning quickly fused with the thousand hands imprint. In the blink of an eye, the thousand hands seal, which was originally shining with white light, was now covered in countless arcs of lightning. You sure are explosive. The purple bone wolf could not help but roar. The blood devil's blood was a technique that the purple bone wolf had used many times. The purple bone wolf could not understand why the blood devil's blood was useless against Tang Ao. I'll grant you your wish. After the purple bone wolf roared, Tang Ao's voice resounded. Soon after, under the purple bone wolf's horrified gaze, thousands of thousand hand imprints that were flickering with lightning instantly fused into one. The speed was so fast that it left people speechless. Chapter 2470. If this attack landed, even with the protection of the blood demon's bone, the purple bone wolf would definitely die. However, when Tang Ao's Thunder Thousand handprint was about to land on the purple bone wolf, a huge bloody mouth suddenly appeared on the purple bone wolf's heart. Tang Ao's Thunder Thousand handprint was directly swallowed by this bloody mouth. After escaping death, the purple bone wolf looked at Tang Ao with lingering fear. It was not that he was not a match for Tang Ao, but that Tang Ao did not know enough about him, and he also did not know enough about Tang Ao. Seeing that he could not kill the purple bone wolf even with such a good opportunity, Tang Ao was furious. After using the secret technique just now, the purple bone wolf was clearly extremely weak. This was the best time to kill the purple bone wolf. After all, on the bounty list, the purple bone wolf's head was worth 5,000 points. One purple bone wolf was worth 5 Yin-Yang realm warriors. Tang Ao, the journey is long. See you next time. The purple bone wolf did not dare to stay any longer. He performed a hand sign, and his body immediately became blurry. Oomph. Leave something behind before you leave. When Tang Ao's voice fell, the 3 profound sky arrows whistled out and instantly struck the purple bone wolf, which had yet to completely dissipate. The purple bone wolf also spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at Tang Ao angrily. Looking at the place where the purple bone wolf had disappeared, Tang Ao sighed helplessly. This time, Tang Ao had used at least 80% of his power. Besides the sky-raising godly needle, Tang Ao had used all his trump cards, but he still could not stop the purple bone wolf. At the same time, if Tang Ao wanted to leave, the purple bone wolf would not be able to stop Tang Ao. After beating the purple bone wolf back, Tang Ao had used 90% of his celestial spiritual power and soul remembrance. Although the purple bone wolf was an astral-reaching realm level 6 warrior, after using the blood demon's bone and performing all kinds of secret skills, it was not much better than Tang Ao. Seeing how weak Tang Ao was, a blood clan warrior charged at Tang Ao. However, Tang Ao didn't even spare him a glance. The instant the blood tribe warrior approached, Tang Ao pointed his finger. Tang Ao's fingers were flowing with black light. This finger was Tang Ao's life extermination finger. After mastering the finger of extinction, this was the first time Tang Ao had used it in a real battle. After Tang Ao pointed with his finger, the blood tribe warrior laughed mockingly, and his body immediately turned into a mist of blood. In this state, ordinary spells would not be able to harm a blood tribe warrior. However, the blood tribe martial artist's expression quickly changed, because at this moment, he suddenly discovered that the surrounding space seemed to have been bound. After he used the blood mist spell, the blood mist could no longer transform freely. Instead, it was fixed. Then, under the horrified gaze of the blood tribe warrior, Tang Ao's life extermination finger bombarded the blood mist. A crisp cracking sound was heard, and the blood mist of the blood tribe warrior shattered with a loud bang. This blood tribe warrior didn't have the chance to recondense again. Under the life extermination finger, his soul was completely destroyed. Dark Soul Demon sighed. Right at this moment, Huang Qir, who seemed to have rested enough, shot out another spell. This time, Huang Qir didn't summon any powerful demonic beasts. Instead, she summoned a huge scythe condensed from a mass of black mist. Under the control of Huang Qir's soul remembrance, this scythe swept out in a circle, and the souls of these blood tribe warriors were uncontrollably hooked by the scythe. Then, the Dark Soul Demon's scythe flashed a sharp silver light in the air. Under this silver light, the souls of the blood tribe warriors that had been hooked out were immediately shattered. When Tang Ao saw this scene, he was amazed. This huge scythe gave Tang Ao a very familiar feeling. On this huge scythe, Tang Ao felt the fluctuations of the Netherworld's aura. Tang Ao originally thought that only he, who had awakened the Netherworld life soul, could summon the existence of the Netherworld. However, Huang Qir's spatial spell could clearly communicate with some objects or living beings in the Netherworld. However, until now, Tang Ao hadn't seen Huang Qir find the monsters in the Netherworld. Before Tang Ao could praise Huang Qir's Dark Soul Demon scythe, Huang Qir immediately sat on the ground. Senior brother Tang Ao, my soul power has been exhausted. I'm counting on you now. After Huang Qir finished speaking, the Golden Thunder Hound immediately turned into a golden light and disappeared. Then, the Dark Soul Demon's scythe also hid in the void. The Ice Phoenix and the Dragon Turtle also disappeared. Only the Flaming Pegasus remained. The Flaming Pegasus seemed to be very intelligent. After looking at Tang Ao and Huang Qir, it flapped its wings and brought Tang Ao and Huang Qir onto its back. The Flaming Pegasus naturally had wind and fire attributes and spatial attributes, so it didn't have many restrictions on flying in the Gale Desert. As the Flaming Pegasus galloped across the Gale Desert, the group of Blood Tribe members couldn't catch up even if they used the Blood Mist technique. They could only watch as Tang Ao and Huang Qir swaggered off. Senior brother Tang Ao, our team is just too suitable. I've never worked so well with anyone before. Huang Qir sat on the Flaming Pegasus's back and waved her small fists happily. When Tang Ao heard Huang Qir's words, he smiled bitterly. Tang Ao thought to himself, this time, the two of them didn't work together at all. The only time they worked together was when the Flaming Pegasus escaped. Otherwise, it would be difficult for Tang Ao to escape with the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud due to his lack of spiritual power. Chapter 2471. Along the way, Tang Ao and Huang Qir also saw many elite warriors of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins fighting with the warriors of the Blood Kindred. Genius warriors like the Purple Bone Wolf were rare among the Blood Kindred. Therefore, Tang Ao saw that in these battles, the warriors of the Blood Kindred were basically killed by the elite warriors of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins. Of course, there were also some warriors of the Blood Kindred who were also elites of the Blood Kindred. They fought with the warriors of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins and were evenly matched. However, the Chamber of Immortal Ruins only had 250 warriors in the Hidden Dragon list and the Heroes list. However, the number of Blood Kindred in the desolate Martial Domain seemed endless. After the Chamber of Immortal Ruins declared war on the Blood Kindred, warriors of the Blood Kindred emerged from all over the place. Soon, the Flaming Pegasus landed in a stone forest. There were many stone forests like this in the Gale Desert. These boulders were extraordinarily large. It was unknown whether they were artificially moved to this place or formed naturally. At this moment, in this stone forest, besides Tang Ao and Huang Qir, there were more than 10 warriors of the Heroes list resting here. The aura of these warriors was fluctuating, and a few of them had even suffered some minor injuries. However, Tang Ao could feel that these people were very happy. It was obvious that they had gained a lot from this battle with the Blood Kindred. After arriving at this stone forest, Huang Qir immediately piled up a bonfire and began to roast meat. No one said much about Huang Qir's behavior. Everyone was resting here, not because they were afraid of the Blood Kindred, but because they were well rested so that they could kill more blood kindred. If there was an ignorant blood kindred who came to attack, everyone would kill it. Looking at Huang Qir, who took out meat skewers to roast meat, Tang Ao was speechless. Tang Ao really did not expect that Huang Qir would actually bring food ingredients on this trip. That was not all. Very soon, Tang Ao saw Huang Qir take out a rectangular box from her storage ring. This box was divided into 9 small compartments. In each compartment, there were all kinds of seasoning powder. Tang Ao saw rue grass seeds, dragon horn green pepper powder, and blackstone salt. Rue grass and dragon horn green pepper were usually used in alchemy. Of course, due to their special taste, they could also be used as seasonings. Blackstone salt was a high-grade condiment. Due to its scarcity, it was not easy for ordinary people to obtain it. But now, Huang Qir actually had a full box. As for the remaining 6 seasoning powders, Tang Ao really couldn't recognize what they were. After martial artists cultivated to the origin realm, they could abstain from eating. After the astral reaching realm, there were not many martial artists who still liked to eat. A few people in the distance were also dumbfounded as they looked at Huang Qir and Tang Ao. These warriors were all wearing mystic frost battle armor, and they were all warriors on the heroes list. As for Tang Ao and Huang Qir, they were wearing black and gold armor, causing the others to feel jealous and envious. But what they didn't know was that Tang Ao and Huang Qir were not used to wearing black and gold armor at all. The reason why the two were wearing black and gold armor was only to make it easier for the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce martial artists to recognize them. Chapter 2472. The way to accumulate points for killing Blood Race warriors was very simple and crude. All Blood Race warriors below the astral reaching realm, regardless of their cultivation, would get 1 point. As for the Blood Race warriors above the astral reaching realm, the first level would get 10 points, the second level would get 20 points, and so on. Once they reached the Yin-Yang realm, it would be 100 points. However, Tang Ao had no intention of fighting with the Yin-Yang realm blood kindred martial artists. Therefore, in order to complete the 1,000 points mission of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins, Tang Ao had to kill almost 1,000 blood kindred martial artists. Tang Ao glanced at his identity tag. At the moment, Tang Ao's identity tag had 12 points, and Huang Qir's points were the same as Tang Ao's. At the moment, among the 250 elite warriors of the Immortal Ruin Chamber of Commerce, Tang Ao and Huang Qir were ranked at the bottom. The martial artist in front of the two also had 40 points now. Elder Wulian had said before that the people of the Immortal Ruin Chamber of Commerce would only be in the desolate martial realm for a month. In this way, they would need at least 34 points every day to barely pass. Tang Ao and Huang Qir were unlucky. They had encountered the Purple Bone Wolf on their first day. If Tang Ao killed the Purple Bone Wolf, then Tang Ao and Huang Qir would each get 2,500 points. At that time, Tang Ao and Huang Qir could find a place to eat barbecued meat. However, as a warrior on the bounty list, the Purple Bone Wolf was not that easy to kill. Tang Ao continued to look and saw a familiar name. It was the ruthless mad killer Shao, who had been refining souls in the soul pool for 1,000 years. Only 1 day had passed, and Mad Killer Shao had already earned 300 points. This kind of power was worthy of his 1,000 years of refining souls in the soul pool. Tang Ao was very curious about how many Blood Race warriors the top warriors had killed among the 250 people. However, when Tang Ao scanned the list with his soul power, he was stunned. The top 10 names were very clear, but the points behind them were very blurry. Moreover, the 9th, 10th, and 11th places were constantly rotating. Tang Ao saw that the martial artist ranked 11th at the moment was called Lu Shi. Lu Shi had also made it into the top 10, but he would soon be squeezed out. At this moment, Lu Shi's points were a terrifying 4,300. Tang Ao looked at the 12 points on his identity token, and then looked at Lu Shi's 4,300 points. Tang Ao felt that he and Lu Shi were not participating in the same trial. Tang Ao found it hard to imagine. If the 11th ranked Lu 11 had 4,300 points, then how many points would the current first ranked person have? Tang Ao was not the only one who was curious about this. It could be said that other than Marshall Tomb, who was ranked first, everyone else was curious about this. The person ranked first was Wu Mu, who was ranked first on the Hidden Dragon ranking. His name was a little strange, and the Marshall Tomb often gave people a strange feeling. However, there was no need to doubt the strength of the Marshall Tomb. After entering the desolate Marshall realm, the Marshall Tomb had always been ranked first and had never been surpassed. Even the second and third places had changed many times, but Marshall Tomb had always been number one. Chapter 2473. However, the meat skewers that Tang Ao had barbecued in the past were worlds apart from Huang Qir's. Such a delicacy was worthy of Huang Qir's box of seasoning. Tang Ao wondered if he should also get a box like this. Such a delicacy would go well with wine. However, when Tang Ao saw that Huang Qir was only a child, he knew that he couldn't bring her along for a drink. Tang Ao didn't take out the wine, but Huang Qir took out a wine flask. There was a light blue wine in the flask. Tang Ao had definitely drunk a lot of wine. However, Tang Ao had never seen a wine with this color and smell. "Junior Sister Qir, what wine is this?" asked Tang Ao as he took the cup of wine that Huang Qir had poured for him. "This is a fruit wine brewed from the blue star fruit. It can cleanse the impurities in one's immortal spiritual energy," replied Huang Qir casually before munching on the meat skewer in her hand. Tang Ao's body shook when he heard this. Huang Qir was clearly a professional when it came to eating. The seasoning used for the meat was made from supreme-grade immortal herbs and supreme-grade immortal ingredients. The wine they were drinking was actually a fruit wine brewed from a grade 4 immortal fruit. After taking a sip, Tang Ao estimated that this flask of wine would probably cost at least a few hundred middle-grade immortal crystals. When a few marshalists on the outstanding talent roll saw Tang Ao and Huang Qir enjoying their barbecued meat, they looked at them with disdain. "I wonder how these two fellas managed to sneak into the Hidden Dragon roll. They haven't even accumulated 30 points yet." The purpose of this trial is to get rid of the vermin on the Hidden Dragon roll. If everyone on the Hidden Dragon roll is as ruthless as Wu Mu, we won't be able to do anything. This Tang Ao is rather capable. He is a grade 3 alchemy master. However, this trial isn't about alchemy. Let's go. Let's take advantage of the fact that the Blood Clan is active at night to earn some more points. After the warrior finished speaking, he gave the others a meaningful look. The rest of them quickly understood. They were already in the central region of the Gale Desert, and there were many Blood Clan members who specifically hunted the warriors of the Chamber of Commerce of the Immortal Ruins in this region. Because all of them were here, if a Blood Kindred warrior came later, the points for killing Blood Kindred would obviously be distributed to Tang Ao and Huang Qir. Moreover, Tang Ao and Huang Qir's cultivation was very low, only at the 3rd level of the astral reaching realm. With such a cultivation base, if they were to encounter some of the more ruthless blood race characters, it was very likely that the two of them would die here. If a martial artist on the Hidden Dragon list died, their chances of entering the Hidden Dragon list would increase by 1 point. Since that was the case, naturally no one was willing to stay here. Tang Ao and Huang Qir did not notice their departure at all. Even if they had noticed, Tang Ao would not have cared. All the blood race martial artists above the Yin Yang realm were being held back by the Yin Yang realm martial artists on the Hidden Dragon list and the Tenajura elders. It was basically impossible for them to appear. As for the martial artists below the Yin Yang realm, even if Tang Ao and Huang Qir could not defeat them, it would not be a problem for them to escape. Just as Tang Ao and Huang Qir were discussing where to go next, the golden dragon turtle appeared in the open space in front of them again. It said lightly, "There are many blood race martial artists heading in this direction." Chapter 2474. The dragon turtle seemed to enjoy Tang Ao calling him Brother Turtle. The dragon turtle glanced at Tang Ao with appreciation, then said calmly, "He is at astral reaching realm level 5. One of the blood race warriors on the bounty list is called Duanmu Shi." Tang Ao immediately remembered the information about the blood race. On the bounty list, there were a total of 100 blood race warriors who had a bounty on their heads. These blood race warriors who had a bounty on their heads would get a lot of points after killing them, just like the purple bone wolf from before. Normally, the purple bone wolf was at astral reaching realm level 6. Even if Tang Ao managed to kill it, Tang Ao would only get 60 points. However, because the purple bone wolf was on the bounty list, it had a scary 5,000 points. Therefore, if Tang Ao had managed to kill the purple bone wolf, then Tang Ao and Huang Qir's mission would have been completed. Compared to the purple bone wolf, this Duanmu, she was way too weak. He only had 500 points on his head. Even so, after killing Duanmu Shi, Tang Ao and Huang Qir will be able to get rid of the last place on the bounty list. This time, Tang Ao and Huang Qir would not attack first. Therefore, they would be able to ambush in the stone forest. In this way, Tang Ao's spell would be extremely useful. Just as Tang Ao took out the array flags and Huang Qir rolled up her sleeves, preparing to go all out, the dragon turtle's eyes suddenly flashed with astonishment. The dragon turtle then said, "This group of blood kindred has changed their direction to chase after the group of martial artists." Huang Qir's eyes were wide open. Tang Ao's face was full of anger. Tang Ao and Huang Qir were a bit speechless. Those people did not leave earlier or later. They just had to leave when the blood race was coming. Tang Ao's heart ached at the thought of losing the 500 points he was about to get. Just as Tang Ao was about to bring Huang Qir to chase after Duanmu Shi, the dragon turtle spoke again. "This group of blood breed has already left the range of my remembrance." After the dragon turtle finished speaking, its figure once again concealed itself in the void. Listening to the dragon turtle's words, Tang Ao suddenly thought of a saying, "If it's in your life, you'll get it eventually, but if it's not in your life, don't force it." It seemed like Tang Ao had no fate with these 500 points. On the huge rock outside the desolate martial realm, there was a high platform floating in the air. The stone platform had been solidified by a formation. At that moment, Wu Yin and two other old men dressed in luxurious purple robes were seated on the stone platform. Both Wu Yin and the two purple-robed old men exuded a powerful chaotic heaven stage aura. It was rumored that the Chamber of Immortal Ruins only had 3 old ancestors of the celestial turbid realm. However, Wu Yin and the other 2 were obviously not one of them. This meant that the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had hidden its strength. This time, it had revealed some of its strength, but no one knew whether the Chamber of Immortal Ruins only had 6 chaotic heaven stage experts. "What's up with these 2 kids?" A hoarse voice came from under the purple robe. The purple-robed old man's gaze was fixed on an array screen in front of him. This array screen displayed the rankings of the 250 people who had participated in the trial. At that moment, the old man was staring at Tang Ao and Huang Qir's rankings. Chapter 2475. The scene infuriated Wu Yin and the other 2. "Elder Hong, I don't know about Tang Ao, but Huang Qir is quite strong. She has half-true dragon bloodline and half-true phoenix bloodline, so she can control most of the demonic beasts in the true martial realm. I think she's too young and hasn't adapted to killing." These 2 old men in purple robes were the founding patriarchs of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins. They were also the Chamber's greatest asset. Although they were old, they had the potential to break through to the Dao Master Realm. The reason why the Chamber of Immortal Ruins spared no effort to cultivate the warriors on the Hidden Dragon list was that they hoped the warriors on the Hidden Dragon list could get a good Dao fruit in the Heaven Path Secret Land, so that the 2 old men could have a chance to break through to the Dao Master Realm. As long as the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had a real Dao Master Realm expert, its strength would immediately soar. Unfortunately, even the Langya Realm, which had existed for tens of thousands of years, did not have a Dao Master Realm expert. The Chamber of Immortal Ruins had very little hope of having a Dao Master Realm expert. Elder Hong nodded after hearing Wu Lian's words. Although the heaven trial was mysterious, the heaven's secret land was full of all kinds of opportunities. Therefore, the more different kinds of top talents there were, the more likely it was to gain something in the heaven's secret land. Tao Master Sky Fire's strength was only at the bottom when he entered the heaven's secret land 100,000 years ago. However, due to his terrifying control and affinity with fire, he managed to obtain a Tao Sovereign Tao fruit and a God King Tao fruit in the Heaven Tao Mystic Realm. Tao Master Sky Fire was the last Tao Master Realm expert, known to have failed to break through to the Divine King Realm. Wu Yin and Elder Hong thought that after a period of time, Tang Ao and Huang Qir would adapt to the desolate martial realm. Although they would not be able to shine, their points would not be so bad. But after another half a day, Elder Hong and Wu Yin were dumbfounded. During this half a day, all the warriors' points had been changing. However, only Tang Ao and Huang Qir were left without any harvest. Wu Yin, did these two kids die in the hands of the Blood Clan? Elder Hong asked doubtfully. Just as Wu Yin was about to speak, a cultivator's name on the array formation screen suddenly dimmed, and his points also froze. If they die in the desolate martial realm, there will be a reaction on the formation screen. I guess that the two of them are trapped somewhere. After all, the desolate martial domain used to be the #1 martial domain in the true martial domain. There are countless secret realms and ruins in it. The two of them might have some opportunities. Yes, Mr. Hong nodded. What Mr. Hong said made sense. Although Tang Ao and Huang Qir did not kill many blood race, if Tang Ao and Huang Qir really found some fortuitous encounter in the desolate martial realm, it would be an extremely good thing. In the rubble forest, after Tang Ao and Huang Qir had eaten their fill, Huang Qir sat contentedly by the campfire. Tang Ao looked at Huang Qir's expression and secretly thought it was funny. Senior brother Tang Ao, I heard that there is a special desolate howling beast in the desolate martial realm. Its meat is extremely delicious. I have already inquired about it before coming here. In the northern area of the Gale Desert, there are traces of the desolate howling beast. After resting for half a day, we will look for the desolate howling beast. Okay? Huang Qir burped and said. Chapter 2476. Seeing that Tang Ao was deep in thought, Huang Qir immediately said, Senior brother Tang Ao, Elder Wu Yin also said that this trial lasts for a month. As long as we have 1,000 points in the end, it's fine. We're not going to fight for the top 10. We just need to be in the top 100. With our strength, getting into the top 100 will be easy. Huang Qir said patiently, as she recalled that the desolate howling beast's meat could not be cooked with normal flames. Huang Qir's reason for looking for Tang Ao was simple. Tang Ao was a third-grade alchemy master. Since Tang Ao was a third-grade alchemy master, Tang Ao definitely had an immortal fire. Tang Hor could not control an immortal fire, so if she wanted to roast the desolate howling beast's meat, she could only find an alchemy master for help. On the way to the desolate martial world, Huang Qir had already revealed her grand plan to many hidden dragon ranking and human ranking martial artists who controlled immortal fires. Unfortunately, none of them were willing to enjoy the delicacy of the desolate howling beast with Huang Qir. Tang Ao was also pondering Huang Qir's words. Huang Qir was right. This time, they just had to make sure they were in the top 100. From the looks of it, with Tang Ao and Huang Qir's strength, entering the top 100 was not a problem. Moreover, Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce's martial artists had already fallen. Tang Ao scanned with his soul remembrance and found that 13 martial artists' names had already turned gray. The points behind their names were also permanently fixed. That's right, Senior brother Tang Ao, there's a 10,000-year flaming river in the northern region of Gale Desert. This flaming river has a small amount of true fire mysterious crystals. As long as you get the true fire mysterious crystals, Senior brother Tang Ao's flame might be able to advance. Huang Qir's eyes flashed with craftiness. Huang Qir had heard her father say that alchemy masters were most concerned about their own flames and treasures that could advance their flames. Huang Qir's main focus was the desolate howling beast in the northern region of Gale Desert. As for the flaming river, it was an accidental discovery. As she spoke, Huang Qir handed a jade slip to Tang Ao. After Tang Ao took a look at the jade slip, he immediately became excited. Huang Qir was right. There was indeed a 10,000-year-old flaming river here. Looking at the riverbeds on both sides and the rich fire elemental aura in the flaming river's lava, Tang Ao knew that Huang Qir was not lying. There might really be a true fire mystic crystal in this flaming river. The true fire mysterious crystal was a crystal that contained a trace of fire attribute Tao law. This kind of crystal could indeed allow immortal flames below grade 6 to advance. Now that Tang Ao's netherworld flame was a grade 3 immortal flame, the true fire mysterious crystal was just right for it. It could be said that as long as he could find a piece of true fire mystic crystal, Tang Ao's trip would not be in vain. If he could find 2 pieces, it would be a huge profit. If his luck wasn't good and he couldn't find a single piece, he would just treat it as him and Huang Qir going there to eat meat. Thinking of this, Tang Ao immediately nodded. Junior Sister Kair, let's go now. Originally, Huang Qir wanted to rest here for a while, but Tang Ao wanted to go over now, so Huang Qir was naturally very happy. After all, the earlier they went, the earlier they could catch the desolate howling beast. In Sister Lin's recipe, the meat of the desolate howling beast was rated as a top-notch delicacy. Huang Qir had been craving it since she was in Wendao Academy. Unfortunately, Huang Qir had always been cultivating in Wendao Academy and was not allowed to go out. And the desolate howling beast was a special demonic beast that only existed in the desolate martial realm. Chapter 2477. There's a group of powerful demonic beasts in front of us. As Tang Ao and Huang Qir hurried on their way, the elusive dragon turtle appeared again. Tang Ao realized that this dragon turtle's greatest use seemed to be an early warning. Because it possessed an incomparably powerful remembrance, nothing could hide from it. Right now, Tang Ao's remembrance didn't detect anything, but Tang Ao still firmly believed the dragon turtle's words. Is it a desolate howling beast? When Huang Qir heard that there was a group of demonic beasts coming, her small eyes lit up and she looked expectantly at the dragon turtle. However, this time, before the dragon turtle could speak, Tang Ao said, "It's not a desolate howling beast, it's a wind feather beast." At this moment, the group of demonic beasts that the dragon turtle mentioned finally appeared in Tang Ao's remembrance. This was a group of monsters that looked like humans, but had 6 wings on their backs. This monster's head was a giant eagle. Its hands and feet were all sharp claws, and its body was covered in a layer of thick armor. It was obvious that it wasn't easy to deal with. Like the desolate howling beast, this wind feather beast was also a demonic beast unique to the desolate martial realm. However, this wind feather beast was completely different from the desolate howling beast. The wind feather beast was the overlord of the Gale Desert. At this moment, as the group of wind feather beasts flew, the surrounding sand and stones were blown away, and the wind was violently blowing. Moreover, the desolate howling beast's meat was incomparably delicious, but no one had the courage to try the wind feather beast. This was because not only was the wind feather beast's meat bitter, it was also extremely poisonous. The wind feather beast's flying speed was extremely fast. Not long after Tang Ao spoke, a group of wind feather beasts appeared in front of Tang Ao and Huang Qir. Looking at this group of wind feather beasts, Huang Qir rubbed her small eyes and immediately said, "How can there be such ugly, demonic beasts, little blue bird?" As she spoke, Huang Qir raised her hand and clapped in front of her. A mysterious array appeared in front of Huang Qir, and immediately, the ice crystal phoenix that Tang Ao had seen before appeared once again. Just like before, this ice phoenix was still a cub. Its appearance and aura hadn't changed much. After the wind feather beast discovered Tang Ao and Huang Qir, It let out a sharp cry and immediately flapped its wings, pouncing towards Tang Ao and Huang Qir. As the wind feather beast flapped its wings, a strong gust of wind blew. Streaks of cyan wind blades swept through the air, giving rise to bursts of air-piercing sounds. This wind blade was different from ordinary wind blades. This wind blade seemed to be able to cut through space itself. The ice phoenix let out a clear cry and flapped its wings. Ice storms pounced towards the wind feather beast. The pressure unique to the phoenix had a strong suppressive effect on bird-type demonic beasts. After all birds pay homage to the phoenix. Unfortunately, the ice phoenix was still a cub, and the suppression it exerted on the wind feather beast wasn't that strong. Zzz. At this moment, another burst of electric current was heard. It was Huang Qir summoning the Golden Thunderhound. The Golden Thunderhound's entire body seemed to be composed of countless golden thunderbolts. As soon as it appeared, the Golden Thunderhound launched a golden lightning ball at the wind feather beast. In an instant, the Ice Phoenix's ice storm and the Golden Thunderhound's golden lightning ball collided with the wind feather beast's astral winds. Following that, Tang Ao saw the Ice Phoenix's ice storm being crushed by the wind feather beast's azure wind blades. The Golden Thunderhound's lightning ball was also destroyed by the storm. This azure wind blade was clearly not ordinary powerful. Golden light flashed on Tang Ao's body, and mysterious golden runes leaped out. Around Tang Ao, the golden runes fused with each other, forming a layer of golden armor that was as thin as a cicada's wings. After this layer of golden armor covered the surface of Tang Ao's body, Tang Ao once again formed several hand seals. Immediately, the golden runes emitted waves of gentle fluctuations and directly integrated into Tang Ao's body. This was the secret technique that was cast with the help of the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Vajra embodiment. After summoning the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao leaped up and his body flew out like an arrow that had left the bow. Looking at the azure wind blades that swept in front of him, Tang Ao suddenly punched out. Kacha! After being hit by Tang Ao's punch, the wind blades that had drawn traces in the air instantly shattered. Now, Tang Ao's great desolate immortal body had been cultivated to the peak of the essence body stage. Tang Ao's current physique was equivalent to a warrior at the peak of the late stage Yin-Yang realm. In addition, Tang Ao had cast the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul's Vajra embodiment, so Tang Ao's physique had already reached a terrifying level. After shattering the wind blades, a wind feather beast screamed and clawed at Tang Ao. The wind feather beast's cry was very unpleasant, like the sound of two pieces of metal rubbing against each other. Finger of Annihilation. Facing the wind feather beast's claw, Tang Ao pointed out without any hesitation. Under Tang Ao's finger, a black beam of light flew out from Tang Ao's fingertip. With a puff, the black beam of light instantly penetrated the wind feather beast's body. After being injured by Tang Ao, the wind feather beast frantically flapped its wings, causing more and more storms to appear. The surrounding wind feather beasts also attacked Tang Ao. Tang Ao was very surprised because the wind feather beast that had been pierced by his finger of annihilation was none other than its heart. However, what Tang Ao never expected was that after the heart was pierced, the wind feather beast only became extremely violent and didn't immediately die. Facing so many wind feather beasts at the same time, Tang Ao didn't dare to be careless. He instantly summoned the Azure Lotus Sword Soul. The 7 Azure Lotus swords surrounded Tang Ao, stirring up waves of terrifying sword chi. These sword chi collided with the wind feather beast's wind blades, producing cracking sounds. As for Tang Ao, he constantly attacked the wind feather beasts at close range. Chapter 2478. With a movement of his body, Tang Ao instantly flew out of the wind feather beast's encirclement. Immediately after, Tang Ao's hands formed mysterious hand seals. In an instant, hundreds of crystal clear hand seals appeared around Tang Ao. This wasn't the end. The number of hand seals increased at a terrifying rate. When the wind feather beasts angrily roared and flew at Tang Ao again, there were already thousands of hand seals around Tang Ao. Moreover, there were countless lightning bolts roaming within these hand seals. A powerful aura swept out from Tang Ao's surroundings. Thunder Thousand Hand Seal. Tang Ao roared and immediately threw out a palm. Under Tang Ao's palm, the whirlwinds created by the wind feather beasts were all destroyed. A few wind feather beasts that were directly hit by Tang Ao were directly shattered into pieces. Even the wind feather beasts that were affected emitted black smoke. It was obvious that they were burned by the lightning. However, after being injured by Tang Ao, these wind feather beasts didn't have any thoughts of escaping. Instead, they became extremely violent. Following a strange cry from the wind feather beasts, the gray fur on their bodies were like sharp blades that sliced through the air and attacked Tang Ao. These wind feather beasts didn't seem to know what retreat was. Once the battle started, it would be a battle to the death. These gray feathers had a special soul remembrance. When Tang Ao's soul remembrance touched these gray feathers, Tang Ao's soul remembrance seemed to be cut into pieces. Tang Ao was shocked. The netherworld flame instantly formed a wall of fire in front of him. When these gray feathers flew into the netherworld flame, they were like moths flying into a flame. When the netherworld flame appeared, the previously ferocious wind feather beasts seemed to have fear in their eyes. Seeing this scene, Tang Ao's heart moved. With a wave of his hand, a fire spear whistled towards a wind feather beast. The instant the wind feather beast came into contact with the netherworld flame, it immediately began to burn. With just a few whistles, a wind feather beast was directly burned to ashes by the netherworld flame. Tang Ao immediately understood that this ferocious wind feather beast body was extremely tough. It was not afraid of ice and thunder attacks, but it was afraid of fire. After understanding this point, Tang Ao's netherworld flame turned into a large flame net that swept in all directions. All the wind feather beasts that were touched by the nether flame were instantly turned into piles of black ashes. The previously fearless wind feather beast finally fled under the fear of death. Soon, all that was left around Tang Ao was a pile of bird feathers and a pile of gray ash. Even in the air, there were many gray feathers of the wind feather beasts. Senior brother Tang Ao, you're amazing. Was it your flame just now? Huang Qir's large eyes were filled with admiration. Of course, Huang Qir didn't admire Tang Ao's battle with the wind feather beasts, but she admired Tang Ao for being able to control such a powerful flame. With such a powerful flame, Tang Ao would have no problem roasting the desolate howling beasts. On the huge rock outside the desolate martial domain, Old Hong and the other two had serious expressions. 3 days had already passed. Wu Yin and the other two couldn't understand what Tang Ao and Huang Qir were doing to not increase their points at all in these 3 days. Could it be that they were running away when encountering a blood race martial artist? Even so, it was impossible that they couldn't even kill a single blood race martial artist. Chapter 2479. However, until now, Tang Ao and Huang Qir still maintained their score of 12 points. In other words, the two of them together had only managed to kill 2 half-astral reaching realm blood race warriors. From the looks of it, these two kids must have accidentally found some ruins in the Gale Desert and are currently exploring it. That's why they haven't encountered any blood race warriors in the past few days, so their points have not changed. The Gale Desert used to be the ruins of the desolate Sky City. Although most of the relics and secret realms have been emptied over the years, there are obviously more relics and secret realms in the desolate Sky City. This time, it was Elder Hua who had been silent all this time. Just like Shen Hong, Huolian Shan was also one of the founding ancestors of the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce. Including Hua Lianshan and Shen Hong, the Chamber of Commerce had a total of 5 founders. However, during the development of the Chamber of Commerce, these top warriors kept falling, which led to the Chamber of Commerce's current situation. Now, only Elder Hong and Elder Huo were left out of the original 5. Tang Ao and Huang Qir naturally did not find any hidden ruins in the Gale Desert. At the moment, Tang Ao and Huang Qir were attacking a desolate howling beast from 2 different directions. The desolate howling beast looked like a wild boar. In other words, the desolate martial realm's unique wild boars. This desolate howling beast was extremely fast. After activating the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud, Tang Ao could only keep up with it from a distance. Huang Qir's Flaming Pegasus was even faster, but still could not catch up with the desolate howling beast. Seeing that the desolate howling beast was about to escape, Tang Ao drew his bow and started to lock onto it with the primordial sacred sky bow. The primordial beginning sacred heavenly bow shot out an arrow, like a golden meteor streaking across the sky. Brother Tang Ao, do your best. Huang Qir had seen Tang Ao's primordial sacred sky bow before. It was very powerful. Therefore, Huang Qir had high hopes for Tang Ao. After all, this desolate howling beast was too fast. Even a flaming Pegasus could not catch up with it. Whoosh! The mysterious sky arrow cut through the sky and missed. Seeing that his arrow missed, Tang Ao was also angry. Ever since he obtained the primordial sacred sky bow, Tang Ao had never missed a shot with a profound heaven arrow. However, right now, Tang Ao was flying at full speed, and the desolate howling beast was too fast. He was unable to use soul remembrance to lock onto it, so Tang Ao's arrow missed. After missing the first strike, Tang Ao flew into a rage. For a moment, the arrows fell like rain. The sound of arrows piercing through the air rang out incessantly. Huang Qir, who was watching from the side, was dumbfounded. However, Tang Ao shot no less than 100 arrows and still did not hit the target. Huang Qir couldn't help but wonder how senior apprentice brother Tang Ao's archery was so terrifying. No matter how she shot, she couldn't hit him. Just as Tang Ao was about to give up, the desolate howling beast suddenly flew back. Tang Ao looked over and immediately discovered that there was a naked martial artist with a blood-colored spear stuck in his back. The desolate howling beast had been killed by a single punch from this martial artist. The desolate howling beast wasn't small. It was the size of an elephant. Moreover, its body was covered in scales. Wanting to kill the desolate howling beast wasn't an easy task. However, this blood species youth had killed the desolate howling beast with a simple punch. Chapter 2480. Xiao Tsang, ranked 29th on the bounty list. After seeing this young man, Tang Ao immediately compared him with the warriors on the bounty list. Then, Tang Ao realized that his luck was indeed quite good. He was chasing a wilderness howling beast and was able to run into Xiao Tsang, who was worth 3,000 points. Xiao Tsang was at Astral Reaching Realm Level 6, ranked 29th on the bounty list. In the Astral Reaching Realm, he was second only to the Purple Bone Wolf. Aren't you going to run? Seeing that Tang Ao and Huang Qir were only looking at him with fear instead of running away, Xiao Tsang said lightly. Hearing Xiao Tsang's words, Tang Ao chuckled. Previously, when Tang Ao fought against the Purple Bone Wolf that was stronger than Xiao Tsang, he almost killed it after a huge battle. This Xiao Tsang was weaker than the Purple Bone Wolf, but his tone was even more arrogant. Beat him up. Hearing Xiao Tsang's words, Huang Qir got angry. As soon as Huang Qir gave the order, the Ice Phoenix and the Gold Thunder Hound rushed toward Xiao Tsang. I know who you are. There is a girl from the Dao Seeking Academy on the Hidden Dragon rank who can control most of the beasts. I guess you must be the Huang Qir who can control beasts. Great. I have never seen your skills before. Today, I will play with you. After Xiao Tsang finished speaking, he raised his hand and grabbed the blood spear on his back. However, just as Xiao Tsang was about to make his move, he was stunned. Then, he said lightly, "What a coincidence. Let's fight again next time." After saying that, He performed a hand spell, and his body turned into a cloud of blood mist. Tang Ao's mysterious sky arrow also flew past where Shout Song had disappeared. However, this Shout Song was different from the purple bone wolf from before. The purple bone wolf had been badly injured after fighting with Tang Ao, which was why Tang Ao had shot it twice. However, right now, Shout Song was at his peak condition. Therefore, Tang Ao was not able to stop him. The reason why Shout Song was in such a hurry to leave was because he had received an urgent order from the leader of the blood race. Only when something urgent happened would such an order be issued. Although the edict did not state what it was for, Shout Song had a rough idea of what it was. The Blood Clan's raid on the desolate martial realm's immortal ruins Chamber of Commerce seemed sudden on the surface, but the Blood Clan had been planning for this moment for a long time. If the Blood Tribe wanted to activate the Blood Sacrifice Formation, they would need a vast amount of resources. If all these resources were taken out by the vampires, even though the vampires had been developing in secret for so long, it would still be a huge blow to them to take out so many resources at once. That was why the Blood Clan had set their sights on the Chamber of Commerce of the Immortal Ruins. The Chamber of Commerce of the Immortal Ruins in the desolate martial realm controlled nearly 40% of the desolate martial realm's resources. After destroying the Chamber of Commerce of the Immortal Ruins, the Blood Clan would naturally have enough resources to activate the Bloodstain Formation. The deepest part of the Gale Desert could be considered a forbidden zone for life. In this place, there were countless spatial blades all around. These spatial blades were hard to detect even with soul remembrance, let alone the naked eye. Once they collided, these incomparably sharp spatial blades would immediately shred their lives to shreds. Chapter 2481. At this moment, there were already many blood kindred gathered here, and under their feet, there was a huge formation that was tens of thousands of feet wide. Ordinary blood kindred only knew that this formation was the blood sacrifice formation of the blood kindred, which could stimulate a trace of the blood ancestor's power in the body of the blood kindred. But the elders and core disciples of the blood kindred knew. This formation was not the enlarged blood sacrifice formation, but the most sacred blood source formation of the blood kindred. Everyone in the outside world thought that the blood kindred were oppressed by the various martial domains and finally lived in the desolate martial domain. But few people knew that the desolate martial domain was the birthplace of the blood kindred. The blood ancestor of the blood kindred was born in this place. When Shout Song arrived, he saw the purple-boned wolf. Shout Song and the purple-boned wolf were the two most outstanding geniuses of this generation of the blood kindred. As the saying goes, two tigers cannot live on the same mountain. Every time the two met, they would release their battle intent. Shout Song glanced at the purple-boned wolf, then said indifferently, "Before coming here, I met Tang Ao and Huang Ke, who you beat up and forced to flee. It's a pity that the ancestors summoned them. Otherwise, I would definitely make them stay in the desolate martial world forever." Huh, boasting shamelessly. The purple-boned wolf knew that although Shout Song had a lot of problems, he would never lie. Shout Song said that he met Tang Ao and Huang Ke, so he must have met them. Although he did not know what happened, Shout Song was able to escape from Tang Ao and Huang Ke, which meant that Shout Song had really improved a lot during this period of time. This guy runs pretty fast. Tang Ao looked at the place where Shout Song disappeared and said indifferently, "Senior brother Tang Ao, don't worry about it. Let's go barbecue." On the other side, Huang Ke's eyes lit up as she stared at the desolate howling beast that Shout Song had killed with a single punch. Huang Ke did not care about Shout Song's escape at all. Clearly, this desolate howling beast was more attractive to Huang Ke. After Tang Ao smiled helplessly, he also walked over. Tang Ao saw that although the desolate howling beast had such a domineering name, no matter how he looked at it, this so-called desolate howling beast was just a huge wild boar. Tang Ao's sword chi slashed out, slicing the desolate howling beast into pieces. Then, he waited for Huang Ke to roast the meat. However, Tang Ao discovered that Huang Kier was looking at him expectantly. "Junior sister Kier, I'm not good at roasting meat," Tang Ao hurriedly said. Huang Kier seemed to want him to roast the meat. "Senior brother Tang Ao, the meat of the desolate howling beast is somewhat special. Ordinary flames are unable to cook it. Only immortal flames can do it," Huang Kier immediately said. Using immortal fire to roast meat, Tang Ao felt his entire body turning somewhat unwell. Barbecue? Barbecue was not a barbecue. Of kin. "Yes, senior apprentice brother Tang Ao, I will have to trouble you this time." Huang Kier took out her precious seasoning box and placed it at the side, waiting for Tang Ao to start the fire to roast the meat. All right, I'll try." Tang Ao had a strange look on his face. Ever since Tang Ao obtained the Netherworld Flame, he had used it to refine top-grade pellets, to refine top-grade formation flags, and to fight against powerful enemies. However, it was Tang Ao's first time using the Netherworld Flame to barbecue food. Chapter 2482. That was because the desolate howling beast's meat contained a very dense, fire-attributed aura. This desolate howling beast seemed to feed on fire-attributed heavenly treasures. Thus, using ordinary flames to roast the desolate howling beast's meat was useless. Even though Tang Ao was using a grade 3 immortal flame to roast the desolate howling beast's meat, the desolate howling beast's meat was not cooked very quickly. Time passed by. Finally, after half an incense stick's time, golden oil flowed out of the desolate howling beast's meat. The oil sizzled on the meat, and the meat quickly became golden and crispy. When Huang Kier saw this scene, she swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Her bright eyes were filled with encouragement. Originally, Huang Kier was worried that Tang Ao would not be able to do well. But after seeing this scene, Huang Kier felt relieved. After a while, an alluring aroma wafted out. After smelling this aroma, Tang Ao's mind shook. The desolate howling beast's meat was indeed worthy of its reputation. Just the aroma alone was incomparably alluring. At this time, Tang Ao lowered the temperature of the Netherworld Flame. Then he sprinkled all kinds of strange spices from Huang Kier's wooden box on the meat. After that, Tang Ao completely dispersed the Netherworld Flame. He took out 4 wooden skewers and placed them in front of Huang Kier. Huang Kier's eyes lit up as she received the meat. "Thank you, senior brother Tang Ao. I'm going to eat now." When she saw Tang Ao roasting the meat, Huang Kier had already drooled a lot. Now that she could eat, Huang Kier naturally would not be polite. Huang Kier took a bite. After feeling the rich aroma on her taste buds, her little face revealed a satisfied expression. Huang Kier's eyes narrowed like a crescent moon. "Delicious." Tang Ao looked at Huang Kier's cute little face and smiled. Then, he picked up a skewer and started eating. After taking a bite, Tang Ao's eyes immediately revealed a trace of astonishment. This desolate howling beast's meat was really delicious. Moreover, after taking a bite, a scorching hot aura lingered in his dantian. At this moment, all the fatigue in his body seemed to be swept away, and his body became much lighter. While eating, Tang Ao skewered the rest of the desolate howling beast meat. Then, Tang Ao took out 30 crafting furnaces and lined them up. Under Tang Ao's control, the Netherworld Flame directly turned into 30 flames and entered the refining furnace. Then, Tang Ao used his spiritual power, and all the skewers flew to the furnace and started to roast the meat. If this absurd scene was seen by others, they would definitely be scared out of their wits. 2 hidden dragon-ranking martial artists from the Chamber of Commerce in the Immortal Ruins actually used a 3rd-grade immortal flame to roast meat in the Gale Desert. With the previous experience, Tang Ao became more and more familiar with the barbecue. Very quickly, one batch after another of barbecued meat came out of the oven. Tang Ao and Huang Kier naturally ate happily. Tang Ao watched Huang Kier eat one skewer after another. He did not know how her small stomach could eat so much. After an hour, there was still more than half of the desolate howling beast's meat left, but Tang Ao could not eat anymore. Although Huang Qir still wanted to eat, she obviously could not eat anymore. Huang Qir took out a handkerchief and wiped her mouth. Then she sighed in her heart and said, "The desolate martial domain is really a good place. There is actually such delicious beast meat." Chapter 2483. The warrior ranked second from the bottom already had 760 points. There was a huge gap between him and Tang Ao and Huang Qir. During this period of time, the rankings had changed greatly. However, Wu Mu, who was ranked first, and Tang Ao and Huang Qir, who were ranked last, could be said to be very stable. No matter how much the rankings changed, the rankings of the three of them never changed. "All right, senior brother Tang Ao, I have decided. This time, I will definitely make it into the top 50. Huang Qir was very happy after eating the desolate howling beast meat, so she said confidently. However, there are very few blood-kindred warriors in the northern region. There are still more than 20 days before the trial ends. We can't stay here forever. The western region seems to have the most blood-kindred. Let's go there," Tang Ao said after pondering for a moment. "Eh?" At this moment, Tang Ao suddenly raised his head. At the same time that Tang Ao raised his head, Huang Qir seemed to feel something and subconsciously looked up as well. Immediately, Tang Ao saw that the originally clear sky had suddenly turned blood red. Shortly after, a blood-red array appeared in midair. This array seemed to be boundless and had no end. Everything that could be seen was enveloped by this array. When this array appeared, Tang Ao felt a dense blood chi fluctuation in the surrounding space. At this moment, the blood in his body seemed to want to fly out uncontrollably. When he saw this, although Tang Ao didn't know what was happening, he quickly took out array flags and started to set up the array. Although this level of blood chi fluctuation didn't affect Tang Ao and Huang Qir much, Tang Ao still prepared to set up the array in advance just in case. As time passed, the blood-red array in the sky became clearer. Even with Tang Ao's attainments in the array Dao, he couldn't tell what kind of array it was. However, what Tang Ao knew was that this array was the highest grade array that Tang Ao had ever seen. The grade of this array was even higher than the inter-province teleportation array of the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce. It was the legendary 9th grade Immortal Array. At this moment, on the Gale Desert, and even in the entire northern region of the desolate Martial Realm, countless people looked up, because at that moment, everyone saw that the entire sky was blood red, and a blood-colored formation was slowly rotating in the sky. There were also countless blood chi fluctuations in the surrounding space, as if something was about to come out. After Tang Ao finished setting up the spirit formation, Tang Ao and Huang Qir arrived at Tang Ao's spirit formation. After entering the spirit formation, Tang Ao and Huang Qir were no longer affected by the image of the enormous spirit formation in the sky. At this moment, Tang Ao also began to carefully observe the 9th grade Immortal Array in the sky. Even in the true martial realm, this level of array was rare. This kind of array formation was very difficult to set up. Every time it was activated, the resources consumed was also an astronomical figure. Tang Ao didn't know why the Blood Tribe would suddenly activate such a formation. In the depths of the Gale Desert, tens of thousands of Blood Tribe clansmen were sitting cross-legged in the array. In the center of the array, there were thousands of young girls tied to stone pillars. These girls were captured by the Blood Tribe from all over the desolate martial realm. At this moment, these girls' eyes were filled with fear and despair. Blood sacrifice. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Immediately, everyone saw the heads of these thousands of girls fly out at this moment. Many of them couldn't even believe that they had died just like that. This scene was extremely cruel and strange. After the heads flew out, the corpses of these girls also exploded into clouds of blood mist. This blood mist did not disperse, and in the end, all of it continuously gathered in the center, fusing into a scarlet and glaring blood pearl. Chapter 2484. The instant the eye opened, a blood-red light soared into the sky, and a demonic and terrifying aura swept out for thousands of miles. All the living creatures within the range of the blood-red array felt their blood chi go haywire, and their souls trembled. Summon blood slaves. The blood race's patriarch set in differently after the blood-red light pillar appeared. Soon after, within the blood source array's range, crimson cries rang out in the air and on the ground. Within the array, Huang Qir looked at the densely packed blood-red figures and asked nervously, "Senior apprentice Brother Tang Ao, what is this?" Tang Ao didn't reply, and instead stabbed out with a sword chi. Under Tang Ao's sword, a blood slave immediately exploded into a cloud of blood mist. Immediately after, Tang Ao nodded. These should be the monsters summoned by this array. However, these monsters have extremely low cultivation levels, barely at the first level of the life and death realm. This array can actually summon such low-level monsters. I believe that after a period of time, there will be more high-level monsters appearing. After killing a blood slave, Tang Ao immediately discovered that his 12 points had become 13 points. Seeing this, Tang Ao's heart thumped, and he said to Huang Qir, "Junior apprentice Sister Qir, let's find a hidden cave abode to set up an array. Then we'll go kill these monsters." Huang Qir nodded. Although Huang Qir knew that these blood slaves didn't have high cultivation levels, seeing so many monsters at once, Huang Qir still felt a little afraid. Although the Gale Desert was filled with messy stone forests, it was clearly not an easy task to find a cave abode. Tang Ao and Huang Qir killed the blood slaves along the way, but they couldn't find a cave abode after searching for a while. Left with no choice, the two of them could only find a stone forest. In this stone forest, there should have been martial artists cultivating here, as there were still traces of a bonfire. Tang Ao didn't think too much about it. He took out the array flags and started setting up the array. This time, Tang Ao set up a grade 4 defensive immortal array. This was the highest grade array that Tang Ao could set up at the moment. After setting up the defense array, Tang Ao immediately brought Huang Qir to kill the blood slaves around the stone forest. At first, because Huang Qir had never seen such a bloody monster before, she was a bit afraid. However, after getting used to it for a while, Huang Qir was no longer afraid. After summoning the Ice Phoenix, Gold Thunderhound, Flaming Pegasus, and Dark Soul Magic Scythe, Huang Qir began to kill the surrounding blood slaves. Tang Ao had always been curious whether Huang Qir could summon other demonic beasts. However, Huang Qir didn't seem to have any intention of summoning other demonic beasts. Originally, Tang Ao thought that Huang Qir's dragon turtle only had the ability to warn others. But now, Tang Ao understood that the dragon turtle's attack power was equally terrifying. At this moment, the dragon turtle had already expanded to 100 zhang in size. Huang Qir sat on the back of the dragon turtle and pointed with her small finger, "Step on it." Immediately after, the dragon turtle raised its claw and slammed it down. Under the dragon turtle's claw, dozens of blood slaves immediately let out miserable cries. Tang Ao's 1,000 handprint was also thrown out. The green lotus sword around Tang Ao exploded with waves of shocking sword chi. Wherever Tang Ao went, the surrounding blood slaves all exploded into blood mist. Tang Ao and Huang Qir's points had also skyrocketed at this moment. However, it was not only Tang Ao and Huang Qir. At this moment, besides those warriors who had already fallen, the rest of the warriors' points had also skyrocketed. After all, it was too easy for an astral-reaching realm warrior to kill these early life and death realm blood slaves. However, because of Tang Ao and Huang Qir, although there were a lot of blood slaves in this place, there were very few warriors here. Therefore, the number of blood slaves that the two had killed was also very horrifying. After half an hour, Tang Ao and Huang Qir had already broken through the 3,000-point barrier. However, the number of blood slaves seemed to be endless. After consuming 50% of the spirit power in Tang Ao's body, Tang Ao immediately brought Huang Qir back to the enchantment in the stone forest. Senior brother Tang Ao, why don't we put our identity tags on the back of the little turtle? Huang Qir's big eyes turned as she immediately said. Hearing Huang Qir's words, Tang Ao's eyes also brightened. The surrounding blood slaves were endless, and the immortal spirit power inside this dragon turtle seemed to be the same. At this moment, this dragon turtle was walking around leisurely, and while it was walking, it had trampled countless blood slaves to death. Tang Ao tied his identity tag with Huang Qir's. Then his body flashed and landed on the dragon turtle's back. Immediately after, Tang Ao cupped his fists and said, "Brother Turtle, I'll leave the matter of farming points to you." Indeed, at this moment, the only thing that Tang Ao could think of was farming points. Although this dragon turtle was also at the astral-reaching realm, the immortal spirit power inside its body was circulating very slowly. The consumed immortal spirit power would be replenished very quickly, which was almost endless. Chapter 2485. Could it be that this is the blood source formation of the blood kindred? On the giant rock in the void outside the desolate martial realm, Wu Lian, Elder Hong, and Elder Hua all looked at the huge formation that enveloped the sky above the desolate martial realm in shock. At the moment, nearly 30% of the desolate martial realm was covered by the blood source formation of the Blood Clan. It should be. The reason why we sent 10 Azura elders this time is to deal with the blood source formation of the Blood Clan. This time, the Blood Clan attacked the Chamber of Immortal Ruins. Although we want to completely destroy the Blood Clan is holed up in the desolate martial realm. Warriors at the Muddy Heaven realm can't enter, so we can only weaken the power of the Blood Clan. Even if we can't completely kill them, we have to cripple them. We have forced the blood source formation out. It can be said that this operation is a success. Activating the blood source formation consumes tens of thousands of years of accumulation of the Blood Clan. However, since this is a trial to select the best from the Hidden Dragon list and the Heroes list, it is good to increase the difficulty. After all, in the future Heaven Path trial, they will face the top geniuses of the various martial realms. Elder Hong said calmly as he looked at the slowly rotating blood-colored formation in front of him. Hearing Elder Hong's words, Wu Lian and Elder Hua were silent. Elder Hong was right. The Heaven Path trial was a top event in the true martial realm. Those who participated in the Heaven Path trial were the super geniuses of the various martial realms and top forces in the true martial realm. Compared to the trial to kill the Blood Clan, the Heaven Path trial would be even more difficult. However, if they didn't call everyone back now, they would have to wait for 49 days when the formation of the Blood Clan weakened before they could leave. According to the upper echelons of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins, there were about 50 casualties in this trial. However, after the Blood Clan activated the blood source formation, the casualties were unpredictable. It was even possible that all the warriors of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins would be wiped out. Hey, these two little guys. Elder Hong suddenly noticed that on the formation screen, Tang Ao and Huang Qir's rankings were rising at a speed visible to the naked eye. A few hours ago, Tang Ao and Huang Qir's points were still dazzling 12 points. But now, both Tang Ao and Huang Qir had more than 2,000 points, and the points were constantly increasing. This scene caused Old Hong and the other two to be slightly dumbfounded. They didn't understand exactly what had happened in the desolate martial world. In the stone forest of the Gale Desert, Tang Ao and Huang Qir were roasting meat as they watched the dragon turtle trample countless blood slaves to death. They felt somewhat pleased with themselves. However, as time passed, Tang Ao discovered that there were actually some blood race members among the blood thralls that appeared. The blood servants from before only looked terrifying as they spewed out blood energy, but they were very weak. Not only did it not have much intelligence, but it didn't even know any spell techniques. It only knew a few very simple attacks. However, some of the blood thralls that had appeared now had a blood rune on their foreheads. Although these blood slaves were still very weak, only having a cultivation of life and Death Realm 6th layer, they could already use some of the Blood Race's spells. Chapter 2486. Looking at these blood slaves with a blood pattern on their foreheads, Tang Ao was a bit worried. Right now, there were only blood slaves with the power of life and Death Realm level 6 warriors. Then, would there be even more powerful ones in the future? A great war must have broken out in the Gale Desert a long time ago, and no one knew how many creatures had died here. Therefore, the Blood Kindred could easily summon blood slaves through the remaining resentment through the blood source formation. Although these blood slaves were not very powerful, there were too many of them. It was fine for a short period of time, but if they fought in this area for a long time, no matter how rich the celestial spiritual power in their bodies was, it would be exhausted eventually. Senior Brother Tang Ao, should we go somewhere else? The blood slaves here have almost all been killed by Little Turtle. Huang Qir looked around and said, although there were indeed a lot of blood slaves, the number of blood slaves in this area had been greatly reduced under the attack of the dragon turtle's giant claws. It was a conservative estimate that at least 80% of the blood slaves in this area had been killed by the dragon turtle. As for Tang Ao and Huang Qir, their points had gone from 250 to the top 100. This speed of growth was terrifying, but no one cared about how Tang Ao and Huang Qir's points had increased. This time, those who came to the desolate martial realm to eradicate the Blood Kindred were all experts of the Chamber of Commerce in the Immortal Ruins. Even so, there were still 21 people who had died. If it were an ordinary warrior, he would not have survived for more than a few days. Let's get rid of the blood slaves in this area first, then go to other places to take a look, Tang Ao said after thinking for a moment. When Tang Ao finished speaking, Tang Ao and Huang Qir received another message on their jade tokens. Using their soul psyche, Wu Lian's voice was heard. I am Wu Lian. This is the blood source formation of the Blood Kindred. You don't need to panic. The blood source formation can summon two kinds of demonic creatures, blood slaves and blood demons. Blood slaves are humanoid, and their strength is divided into 9 levels. But because of the special nature of the desolate martial realm, you will only encounter level 7 blood slaves, which can reach the 3rd level of the yin-yang realm. Although there was a very detailed introduction about the blood slaves and blood demons, Tang Ao's understanding of the blood race deepened after he carefully read the contents of the Identity Jade token. The Blood Kindred was also one of the top clans in the true martial realm. In the history of the true martial realm, many forces had joined forces to annihilate the Blood Kindred. But until now, the Blood Kindred had not been completely annihilated. Until now, they had not been completely annihilated. The blood slaves summoned by the Blood Source Great Formation, in addition to automatically attacking all non-blood race beings, could also be used by blood race martial artists to cast some forbidden secret techniques. It was extremely dangerous to fight against a blood clan martial artist with a blood slave, so he had to be extremely cautious. Kindred warriors were kindred slaves, was, and must be. Blood demons were completely different from blood slaves. Blood slaves had low intelligence. Even if they were rank 7 blood slaves, they only had basic battle instincts and could only use limited blood tribe spells. However, the blood demon's intelligence was very high and it did not have a fixed form. It was said that blood clan warriors were the descendants of blood demons. The bloodline power of these blood demons was purer than that of blood clan warriors. Chapter 2487. Whether it was humans, blood kindred, or even blood slaves, they all wanted such blood demons. These blood demons also had a name different from other blood demons, spirit blood demons. The blood of spirit blood demons could be used as a catalyst to refine many elixirs, increasing the effects of elixirs by 10 to 30%. Moreover, most of the blood of spirit blood demons was magical and had all sorts of special abilities. Some of the blood of spirit blood demons contained surging vitality and regenerative abilities, just like the best healing elixirs. Some of the blood of spirit blood demons contained terrifying celestial spiritual energy, and its effects were comparable to the legendary celestial spiritual marrow. The blood of spirit blood demons had many magical abilities. After reading the introduction of spirit blood demons, Tang Ao and Huang Qir both wanted to have their own spirit blood demons. Senior Marshal Brother Tang Ao, let's go catch a spirit blood demon. Huang Qir looked at Tang Ao expectantly, as if as long as Tang Ao agreed, he would bring her to catch a spirit blood demon. Tang Ao nodded. Okay, let's clear out the blood slaves here first and familiarize ourselves with their fighting style. Then, we'll look around for spirit blood demons. According to Elder Wulian, spirit blood demons have purer bloodline power than blood kindred, so they're stronger than blood kindred. We have to be careful. Tang Ao warned Huang Qir a bit more before Tang Ao summoned the Azure Lotus Sword Soul and charged into the group of blood slaves. These blood slaves were like people bearing their fangs and claws, but they didn't have facial features. Their bodies were surrounded by blood chi. Their attacks were very simple. The most common ones were biting, clawing, and blood spears. After Tang Ao summoned the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao could completely ignore the blood slave's claws and bites. He just had to be careful and avoid the blood spears. The reason he had to avoid the blood spears was because the blood spears formed by the blood slaves were very corrosive. Not only the celestial spiritual energy shield, but even the life soul would be corroded. So when facing the blood spears, if he couldn't use spells to disperse them, he had to avoid them. After Tang Ao's battle, Sage Bone Life Soul was stabbed by the blood spear. It corroded into a fist-sized chunk. However, with the help of Tang Ao's spiritual power, it quickly recovered. However, Tang Ao didn't dare to let the blood spears touch him again. Tang Ao was surrounded by countless sword chi as he swept through the crowd of blood slaves. On the other side, Huang Qir summoned another demonic creature. Even with Tang Ao's eyesight, Tang Ao couldn't tell what it was. This was a spirit body that emitted a blue light, and its body was covered in ancient and mysterious armor and chains. With a raise of his hand, bolts of azure lightning shot out furiously, killing more than half of the blood slaves around him. Moreover, when this demonic creature attacked the blood slaves, it released a huge blue spirit power cover, enveloping Huang Qir within. It was like the most loyal guard protecting her. Just as Tang Ao looked in that direction, Tang Ao suddenly saw the blue spirit body raise its hand, and a bolt of blue lightning descended from the sky. The blood slaves in front of him were also blown into pieces. This blue spirit body was the ancient blue spirit, a very special kind of existence. The ancient blue spirit could control very powerful spells, but it didn't have much intelligence, only a simple consciousness. Tang Ao scanned the ancient blue spirit body with his soul remembrance and found that it wasn't the powerful astral reaching realm 9th level beast that Huang Qir had. Although this ancient blue spirit was also very powerful, it only had the cultivation of 6th level astral reaching realm. Chapter 2488. Senior Brother Tang Ao, where are we going now? Huang Qir did not know much about the Gale Desert. Other than knowing that there were desolate howling beasts in the northern region of the Gale Desert, she did not know anything else. Tang Ao had originally come here to look for the true fire mystic crystal. However, after looking around the area, Tang Ao did not find the flaming river. Let's go to the east, Tang Ao said after thinking for a moment. In the Gale Desert, other than the Gale City that had been destroyed by the Blood Clan, there were 2 other large cities. These 2 large cities were not controlled by top forces. There were places where small forces, rogue martial artists, and many ordinary people gathered. The Blood Slaves were as bloodthirsty as the Blood Clan martial artists. Therefore, Tang Ao estimated that these 2 places had the most Blood Slaves and Blood Clan martial artists. The city in the eastern region was called the Golden Sand City. The reason why it was called the Golden Sand City was because there was a top-grade immortal material, pure gold sand, in the desert around the city. Although Tang Ao still had some pure gold sand with him, if Tang Ao wanted to refine a pure gold sand immortal artifact, he would need more. Therefore, Tang Ao planned to collect some pure gold sand while killing the blood slaves. The Golden Sand City was quite famous in the other martial worlds. Legend had it that there was a top-grade expert in this region called the Golden Sand Divine King. The Golden Sand City was the divine temple of the Golden Sand Divine King. The entire Golden Sand City was built with top-grade pure gold sand. Of course, the current Golden Sand City was not built with pure gold sand like in the legends. It was just some hard black rocks. After arriving at the Golden Sand City, Tang Ao and Huang Qir immediately set off. The Flaming Pegasus attack power was not strong, but it was very convenient to use as a means of transportation. The Flaming Pegasus sped across the Gale Desert. Countless wind and fire spiritual power surged around it. Its speed was very shocking. Along the way, Tang Ao and Huang Qir met some martial artists. However, these martial artists were not elites of the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce, but warriors of the desolate martial domain. The Blood Clan's Blood Source Great Formation now covered 3 layers of the desolate martial domain, and many warriors of the desolate martial domain were also deeply affected. The desolate martial domain was an ungoverned dark area, but not all the people living in the desolate martial domain were heinous criminals. Because there were no powerhouses in the desolate martial realm, this was a paradise for many Yin-Yang powerhouses. In the desolate martial realm, the Yin-Yang realm experts were already the peak existences. However, those top-notch Yin-Yang realm experts all had their own territories. Normally, these experts would not interfere with each other's business. However, when the Blood Clan suddenly activated the Blood Source Array, several Yin-Yang realm martial artists were affected. After knowing that the Blood Clan had destroyed the Chamber of Commerce in the Immortal Ruins, these martial artists did not dare to provoke the Blood Clan. They could only admit that they were unlucky and chose to leave. Therefore, the martial artists that Tang Ao and Huang Qir met along the way all had extremely low cultivation. The warriors of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins could obtain points after killing blood slaves. However, there was no benefit for these martialists to kill the blood slaves. That was why no one was willing to fight a blood slave. Of course, killing a blood slave wasn't completely without its benefits. Starting from rank 3, a blood slave's body would produce blood crystals. Chapter 2489. Only by becoming a rank 4 blood slave could one guarantee a low-grade blood crystal for every blood slave they killed. However, even low-rank blood crystals were not easy to get. Most of the warriors in the desolate martial realm were at the life and death realm and astral reaching realm. Yin-Yang realm warriors were already very rare. If it was just a rank 4 blood slave, any level 3 astral reaching realm warrior would be able to handle it. However, no matter what realm the blood slave was at, it would never appear alone. No matter where it was, the blood slaves would always be in groups. Brother Tang Ao, look, there's another rank 4 blood slave. On the back of the flaming flying horse, Huang Qir waved her little hands excitedly. The reason why Huang Qir was so interested in rank 4 blood slaves was because she had a strange egg. Tang Ao did not know what kind of beast had laid this egg. Even with the help of the sky polar eyes, Tang Ao could not see what kind of beast was inside the egg. However, there was an extremely horrifying pressure on this beast egg. Every time Huang Qir took out this beast egg, even the dragon turtle and the ice phoenix would have a look of fear in their eyes. However, this beast egg was not easy to take care of either. It needed to absorb all kinds of natural treasures to grow. Before, Tang Ao had thrown out all the spirit materials he did not want in his storage ring like trash for this beast egg to absorb. However, under that huge amount of immortal materials, this beast egg did not have much of a reaction at all. Tang Ao estimated that with so many natural treasures, even a dragon egg would have hatched, but this egg did not have much of a reaction. Although it had not hatched yet, this egg was acting very miraculously. When Huang Qi took out this beast egg, it would even kill rank 4 blood slaves on its own and absorb the essence from the blood crystals. At the same time, as Tang Ao was studying this egg, it also flew over to Tang Ao and circled around Tang Ao. Perhaps it was because it had sensed the aura of Tang Ao's chaotic six-light mirror. This beast egg did not reject Tang Ao. According to Huang Qi, other than Huang Qi herself, no one else could touch this demonic beast egg. After sensing the aura of a level 4 blood slave, the demon beast egg excitedly rubbed itself against Tang Ao's arm. Although it could also kill a level 4 blood slave, it wasn't as easy as Tang Ao. Moreover, after Tang Ao killed a level 4 blood slave, he would let it absorb the blood crystals. In addition, Tang Ao had given it a huge amount of treasures to absorb before. Therefore, this demonic beast egg was becoming more and more intimate with Tang Ao. Tang Ao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy was already so heaven-defying as an egg. What would happen if it hatched? With a thought, the primordial sacred heavenly bow instantly appeared in Tang Ao's hand. Immediately, Tang Ao's eyes focused. His celestial core power surged all over his body, and he slowly pulled the primordial sacred heavenly bow. In the distance, the level 4 blood slave was killing a group of warriors from the desolate martial world. As it waved its claws, many warriors were directly killed by its claws. Immediately, several blood claws stretched out from its body and directly pierced through the bodies of these warriors. It began to absorb the blood in these warriors' bodies. However, at this moment, the level 4 blood slave suddenly felt an unprecedented crisis. Immediately, it raised its head and looked in the direction of Tang Ao and Huang Qi. After seeing the beast egg floating next to Tang Ao, the blood slave let out a sharp scream, as if it had found some delicious food. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.